Chapter 2259. It seemed that she had to take the child out more often in the future. Staying at home all the time would only make the child more introverted, depressed, and not talkative. Coming out to get some fresh air and join in the fun, he looked lively and energetic. "Mother, when will the wedding procession come back?" Lan Xian pulled the deputy magistrate's wife's hand and asked. The deputy magistrate's wife shook her head and said, "I don't know. It should be soon. Let's just wait." Yes. Mother, this is so fun. Mother, can you bring me here to play more often?" Lan Xian looked at the deputy magistrate's wife with big and bright eyes full of expectation. The deputy magistrate's wife had a warm smile on her face. She touched Lan Xian's head and replied, "Of course you can. Xian, if you want to play, just tell me. If your father doesn't have time, I'll play with you." Yes. Lan Xian nodded heavily in response. His little face was full of smiles and he looked very excited. The deputy magistrate's wife narrowed her eyes and looked very happy. She didn't know what her child wanted or liked, so she wanted to give him the best of everything. Now she found that the things her Xian liked were so simple. He didn't like material things but companionship and joy. She wasn't a competent mother before and neglected a lot of things. The yard was still lively, but Qin Yuan was a little bored. He wasn't interested in these things. The only person in his heart was Zhao Xinhui. Unfortunately, he didn't find Zhao Xinhui among so many people who came to old Zhao's house. He didn't know where Zhao Xinhui went. Qin Yuan looked for her for a while but couldn't find her. He had to ask Hu Chunhua, "Grandma, where is Hui? Did she come to play today?" Seeing Qin Yuan, Hu Chunhua's attitude was quite good. Hu Chunhua knew that the Qin Yuan needed to develop a good relationship with Zhao Xinhui, so she replied with a smile, "She came over to play. Hui is eating melon seeds in her room. Do you want me to call her out for you?" Zhao Xinhui was a precious person. In addition, her body had been tortured before, so she was a little weak, so she couldn't stand for long. She didn't gather outside to watch the fun like the others. Instead, she sat in Zhao Yun'er's house and ate the melon seeds and peanuts prepared by Zhao Yun'er. Qin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and said with a smile, No, Grandma. I can go by myself." "Alright, go ahead then." Hu Chunhua replied with a smile. Zhao Baoshan coughed softly and poked Hu Chunhua with his arm. Hu Chunhua looked at Zhao Baoshan with some confusion and asked, "I say, old man, what's wrong with you? Why are you poking me with your elbow? Don't you know that I'm already so old and skinny? You're hurting me." Zhao Baoshan frowned and reprimanded Hu Chunhua softly in her ear, "You're really too much. Why did you let Qin Yuan look for Hui? Why can't he look for Hui? Can we stop him if he wants to see Hui? Now that he's opened a restaurant, he's no longer the poor boy he used to be. Since he still has feelings for Hui, let the two of them spend more time together. As her father, you should know that with Hui-er's conditions, how can she find a better man?" Chapter 2260. However, Zhao Baoshan said, "You old woman, how can I not know about this? But it's fine if it's in our house. After all, no one saw it and no one knows. It's in public and almost everyone in the village is there. What do you think people will think if they see that Qin Yuan is hooking up with our Hui? What kind of gossip will it spread? I think you're not thinking clearly at all. You're not thinking about the reputation of our old Zhao family." Hu Chunhua pursed her lips as if she didn't care at all. "Old man, why are you always talking about our old Zhao family's reputation? Is your old face more important, or is the rest of Hui-er's life more important? You're Hui-er's biological father. Can't you hope for her to be well?" Zhao Baoshan said unhappily, "Why can't I hope for her to be well? But you don't have to do it in front of so many people, right? Why do you have to make such a big fuss? Why do you have to embarrass yourself like this when you don't have to? Who doesn't care about face in our village? Hui-er is important, but our old Zhao family's reputation is also important. Anyway, I don't care. In my heart, Hui-er is still the most important. I don't care about reputation. The rest of Hui-er's life will only be good if she has enough to eat and drink. Today's matter can't be exposed, but it will be exposed one day. Anyway, Hui-er will definitely live with Qin Yuan in the future. It's just a matter of time. Why are you still worried about this and that?" After being scolded by Hu Chunhua, Zhao Baoshan sighed and waved his hand. Okay. Whatever you say. I won't care, okay?" Qin Yuan had already rushed into Zhao Yun'er's house. He couldn't wait to see Zhao Xinhui. When they arrived at Zhao Yun'er's house, they saw Zhao Xinhui sitting alone in front of a stool, eating melon seeds out of boredom and looking outside. Qin Yuan grinned and stuck close to Zhao Xinhui. She lowered her voice and cried, "Hui, Zhao Xinhui raised his head and met Qin Yuan's eyes. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. You've come? Yeah. Since you're here, sit down. Let's eat sunflower seeds together. Zhao Xinhui patted the stool beside her and motioned for Qin Yuan to sit beside her. However, Qin Yuan said, I'm not tired or hungry. There's no need to sit down and eat melon seeds. Zhao Xinhui was stunned, then said, even if you're not hungry or tired, you can't just stand there. What's the point of just standing here? A shy smile appeared on Qin Yuan's face. Let's go somewhere else. There are too many people here. Let's find a quiet place to talk. She said that she wanted to talk, but in fact she wanted to hug Zhao Xinhui and touch Zhao Xinhui. A man and a woman in love really lived up to the saying that one day apart felt like 3 years. He hadn't seen Zhao Xinhui for a few days and he missed her so much. Besides missing Zhao Xinhui, he also missed Zhao Xinhui's body. When he thought of the pleasure he had with Zhao Xinhui in bed, Qin Yuan couldn't control himself. As if she could see Qin Yuan's thoughts, Zhao Xinhui smiled, then stood up and said to Qin Yuan, all right then, let's go to the back of the house to talk. It's quiet there. There's no one there. Yeah. Qin Yuan responded excitedly. Chapter 2261. Since Zhao Yun'er's house was large, the back room was more secluded. In addition, some of the plants in the back room had not been removed, so it was difficult to see them once they went in. There were many people in Zhao Yun'er's house, so everyone was excited to see what was going on. No one noticed Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui. When the two of them arrived at the back of Zhao Yun'er's house, Qin Yuan eagerly went up to Zhao Xinhui. I missed you so much. When Qin Yuan saw that no one was around, he threw all caution to the wind and hugged Zhao Xinhui. He buried his head in Zhao Xinhui's neck and whispered sweet nothings to her. On the surface, Zhao Xinhui pushed Qin Yuan away, but on the inside she was very happy. She said sweetly, you jerk? Seriously? Aren't you afraid of being seen? Qin Yuan looked around and replied with a grin, it's very safe here. Everyone has nothing to do. Why would we come to the back of the house? What if someone saw us? Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and blushed. Qin Yuan smiled. Don't be afraid. They won't. It's not a big deal if someone sees us. I'm going to marry you in the future anyway. We're going to be together. This is a good opportunity to let everyone know. Zhao Xinhui covered her mouth and smiled. She looked at Qin Yuan's handsome face and didn't know why she liked him so much. Qin Yuan seemed to be better at coaxing people than young Master Huang. When Zhao Xinhui saw that no one was around, she reached out her hand and caressed Qin Yuan's body. She teased him. Qin Yuan, I haven't seen you for a few days. Did you really miss me? Of course it's true. I missed you so much. Qin Yuan replied without hesitation. Zhao Xinhui shook his head. I don't believe you. How can you prove that you really miss me? Qin Yuan hurriedly pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand up and placed it on his heart. He said to Zhao Xinhui, my heart is right here. Feel it and you'll know if I'm telling the truth. If it's possible, I really want you to crawl into my heart or dig it out for you to see. That way you'll be able to tell if I'm telling the truth. Zhao Xinhui was amused by Qin Yuan. I was just saying. Look at how anxious you are. If you really dig your heart out, wouldn't you be dead? As long as I can prove my sincerity and you can trust me, what harm is there in taking my life? Zhao Xinhui hurriedly covered Qin Yuan's mouth. All right. Don't say such unlucky things. I believe in your sincerity, okay? And you're the woman I love the most. I've never been hypocritical towards you. We still have a long life ahead of us. I hope to use my actions to prove to you that you didn't choose the wrong man. He'll give you happiness, Qin Yuan said seriously as he held Zhao Xinhui's hand. Zhao Xinhui's heart felt as if it was filled with honey. It was sweet. When the two of them hugged each other, they couldn't control themselves. Qin Yuan hugged Zhao Xinhui's waist, then bent down and nibbled on Zhao Xinhui's lips. They kissed for a long time, but he still wasn't satisfied. He couldn't bear to let go of Zhao Xinhui. After this kiss, their bodies gradually heated up. They couldn't control themselves. Chapter 2262. He wanted her. He wanted her now. At the thought of Zhao Xinhui's body, Qin Yuan couldn't control himself anymore. Zhao Xinhui lightly punched Qin Yuan's chest with her fist and pouted coquettishly. I didn't know that you were such a pervert. Previously, Zhao Xinhui thought that Qin Yuan was quite honest and wouldn't say or do such things. She didn't expect that she had overestimated him. In fact, Qin Yuan was the same. Qin Yuan smiled and replied, How many men aren't perverted? If they don't look perverted, they're just pretending. But I can't be perverted by other women. You're the only one in my heart, so I only want to be perverted by you. Zhao Xinhui blushed. Although she had done that kind of thing many times, she was still a little shy to do it with the man she liked. It was a different kind of feeling. You can't do it even if you want me. This place isn't suitable. Hold it in. Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and said shyly. No, I can't hold it in anymore. Touch it if you don't believe me. As Qin Yuan spoke, he pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand and let her touch his thing that was reacting. After Zhao Xinhui touched it, her ears turned even redder. It seemed that Qin Yuan really couldn't hold it in any longer. She looked at Qin Yuan's expression again. She couldn't refuse his impatience. Actually, after touching Qin Yuan, Zhao Xinhui's body reacted the same way. She was a normal woman. She also looked forward to this kind of thing. Zhao Xinhui couldn't bear to reject Qin Yuan. She lowered her head and said shyly, "If you really want to do it, let's go to my house. There's no one at my house. We can do whatever we want." With that, Zhao Xinhui took Qin Yuan's hand and prepared to leave. Qin Yuan, on the other hand, stood where he was, unwilling to leave. Zhao Xinhui frowned and asked in confusion, "What's wrong, Qin Yuan? Don't you want to do it?" Qin Yuan shook his head. "No, of course I want to. Then why don't you leave? Hurry up, don't dawdle. The sooner you go to my house, the sooner we can start." Qin Yuan smiled wretchedly. I want to do it right here." Ah. Zhao Xinhui opened his mouth and looked at Qin Yuan in disbelief. He thought that Qin Yuan had made a mistake. Here? It couldn't be, right? What was he going to do? Wouldn't it be bad if someone saw us? Zhao Xinhui was a little unhappy. No matter what, it was more convenient to do it on the bed. What was the point of doing it here? Qin Yuan hugged Zhao Xinhui and coaxed her gently. Don't worry. This is the back of the house. He won't come here casually. Besides, we can go to the grass. No one will see what we're doing. Zhao Xinhui was a little confused. But Qin Yuan, the bed at home is obviously more comfortable. Why do we have to do it in the grass? There are so many people on the ground. It's not comfortable at all. Qin Yuan said, I think it's more exciting here. Why don't we try it here? Chapter 2263. After hearing Qin Yuan's explanation, Zhao Xinhui's face instantly flushed red. How could she do that? Zhao Xinhui was a little embarrassed to try. She was still a little worried that others would see them. Although she was quite thick-skinned, if someone saw them now, the entire village would know. What would others think of her then? He didn't know what kind of gossip would come out of it. Everyone didn't like to be counted by others. Qin Yuan said, I'm begging you. Just satisfy me this once. Let's give it a try. I'm begging you. Zhao Xinhui couldn't reject Qin Yuan too much. After all, Qin Yuan was different from before. She had to do well and firmly hold on to Qin Yuan's heart. Therefore, she could only grit her teeth and nod in agreement. All right, let's give it a try then. Qin Yuan's eyes were instantly tinged with excitement. Then he hugged Zhao Xinhui and impatiently started to move his hands. Zhao Xinhui nudged Qin Yuan and said, "We agreed to go to the bushes. Don't do it here." Only then did Qin Yuan restrain himself. He first went to the bushes with Zhao Xinhui and then started to move his hands. Qin Yuan first took off Zhao Xinhui's outerwear and his own outerwear and placed them on the ground. This way, the two of them wouldn't be poked by the weeds on the ground and would feel more comfortable. When Zhao Xinhui was stripped down to her undergarment, her beautiful figure was exposed in front of Qin Yuan's eyes. When Qin Yuan saw this, he had the urge to have a nosebleed. Zhao Xinhui also glanced at Qin Yuan's chest. She reached out and caressed it. Then she urged Qin Yuan, "What are you still looking at? Hurry up and come." Qin Yuan was no longer in a daze. He directly tore off Zhao Xinhui's undergarment and began to move on top of her happily. The surrounding vegetation was rustling because of the two of them. At this moment, in the front yard of Zhao Yiner's house, because there were many people, the noise was very loud. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were at the back of the house. Even though Zhao Xinhui was moaning happily, the noise from the front yard still covered Zhao Xinhui's voice. No one noticed that a dirty thing was going on in the back room of Zhao Yiner's house. After a while, Qin Yuan's forehead was dripping with sweat. Quite a few beads of sweat appeared. However, there was an indescribable thrill to having sex on the grass. Sure enough, his decision was not wrong. The feeling in the grass field was different from the feeling at home. Looks like I have to find a few more ways to play in the future to make this matter more interesting. However, the two of them were completely oblivious to the fact that someone was slowly walking towards them. Previously, Zhao Ping'er accompanied Ma Xiaofeng to find a quiet place to listen to Ma Xiaofeng talk. However, after a while, other people from the village came over. The originally quiet place became noisy again. Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng had to move to the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. Usually no one came here, so it must be very quiet. The two of them could sit down and talk slowly. There was no need for them to move. Because of Zhao Qian'an's marriage, Ma Xiaofeng was still immersed in grief and had not come back to her senses. Chapter 2264. Ma Xiaofeng rubbed her eyes and looked at Zhao Ping'er, feeling very touched. She said to Zhao Ping'er, "Big sister Ping'er, thank you so much. You've always been the only one who stood by my side without hesitation and helped me a lot. You're really my good friend." Zhao Ping'er was also touched when she heard that. "Little Feng, we've always been good friends. Is there still a need to say this?" Yes. Ma Xiaofeng replied with a heavy voice. In the past she treated Zhao Ping'er a little more hypocritically. But now she felt that there were not many people who treated her well in this world. Zhao Ping'er was one of the few people who treated her the best without asking for anything in return. It seemed like she had to treat Zhao Ping'er as her true friend in the future. Otherwise she would be too heartless. So, little Feng, actually, I'm quite envious of you sometimes. Although you can't be together with Tianan, you're pretty. Even without Tianan, you can definitely find a better man, Zhao Ping'er said as she looked at Ma Xiaofeng's exquisite face with envy. Then she sighed regretfully and muttered, "If I were as pretty as you, then Big Brother Yuan would definitely not like my aunt. He would definitely like me and live a down-to-earth life with me. Thinking that I still have to share a man with my own aunt in the future. I feel very uncomfortable in my heart. Little Feng, you said that Big Brother Yuan was originally my husband. How can my aunt snatch a man from me? She's just relying on that foxy face of hers to seduce Big Brother Yuan on purpose. And Big Brother Yuan treats her so well. How can there still be a place for me in the future?" Looking at Zhao Ping'er's sad and helpless look, Ma Xiaofeng also felt some sympathy for Zhao Ping'er. "Big sister Ping'er, you can't change this matter either. It's still your aunt who's too shameless. You're Qin Yuan's first wife, and now she's sticking her foot in. Sai, isn't that so? Little Feng, tell me, what should I do?" Zhao Ping'er's pleading gaze landed on Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng shook her head and sighed. "I don't know either. Big sister Ping'er, if I have a way, I'll definitely help you." Sigh. "Then there's no way. I can only wait for Big Brother Yuan to bring my aunt back." "Sister Ping, if only you can become beautiful and capture Qin Yuan's heart, maybe he won't be together with your aunt." Zhao Ping'er touched her own face. "If I'm beautiful, Big Brother Yuan won't have to look for my aunt. But little Feng, look at my face. How can I become beautiful?" Ma Xiaofeng stared at Zhao Ping'er and said, "Actually, Big sister Ping'er, your facial features aren't ugly. In fact, they're quite good looking. Your figure is also quite good. It's curvy and better than the average person. Other than the birthmark on your face, there are also freckles. If you can remove these two things and your skin can be fairer, I think you'll be considered a beauty too," Zhao Ping'er said as if she was discouraged. "It's just that the birthmark and freckles on my face can't be removed. It made everyone say that I'm ugly." Chapter 2265. When Zhao Ping'er heard Ma Xiaofeng's words, her eyes suddenly lit up. "Xiaofeng, is what you said true? Can the birthmarks and freckles on my face really be removed?" "I don't know if they can be removed, but Sister Ping'er, you can ask a doctor first. Some doctors have good medical skills or they have some folk prescriptions. Maybe they can remove the birthmarks and freckles on your face. You have to try to have a chance. If you don't try, how will you know?" Zhao Ping'er felt that Ma Xiaofeng's words were very reasonable. In the past she didn't have money. Even if she could remove the things on her face, she couldn't afford it. Now that she had money, she had such a good opportunity. Why shouldn't she try it first, as Ma Xiaofeng said? If she could remove the birthmarks and scars on her face, then wouldn't she become a great beauty? When she thought of Zhao Ping'er, she was a little excited. As long as she was good-looking, maybe Qin Yuan would change his mind. Yes, Xiaofeng, then I'll try it later. At most, I'll spend more money. Now, even if I don't spend money, my aunt will take the money later. It's better to spend it on myself. Zhao Ping'er thought it through and sighed with Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng held Zhao Ping'er's hand and said, "Yes, Sister Ping'er, you really should think more about yourself." Yes. When the two of them were talking, Ma Xiaofeng suddenly heard a chaotic sound. It was a bit like a woman's moaning. Ma Xiaofeng made a shushing gesture. "Sister Ping'er, did you hear something?" Zhao Ping'er looked at Ma Xiaofeng curiously. Sound? What sound? It's the sound of a man and a woman doing that, Ma Xiaofeng said with some embarrassment. After all, she was a girl, so she was embarrassed to talk about this kind of thing. I don't think so, Zhao Ping'er muttered. Sister Ping, listen carefully. Zhao Ping'er held her breath and stretched her ears to listen. Finally she heard some sounds. Just as Ma Xiaofeng said, someone was doing that. Zhao Ping'er's eyes immediately showed a touch of contempt, and Ma Xiaofeng said, Xiaofeng, there is really someone who is shameless enough to do that. Ma Xiaofeng said, yeah. Who would do such a shameless thing in broad daylight? Who knows? Xiaofeng, do you think someone is having an affair? Zhao Ping'er's eyes were filled with curiosity. Ma Xiaofeng nodded. That's possible. Xiaofeng, do you think the two of them are having sex in the bushes? It should be. Zhao Ping'er suddenly grabbed Ma Xiaofeng's hand and said to Ma Xiaofeng, Xiaofeng, why don't we go and see who is so shameless in the village? If they are not on good terms with us, we can go to the front yard and make a scene. Then everyone will come and see. That will be wonderful. Ma Xiaofeng was a little embarrassed as she moved her feet and asked resentfully, Sister Pingyu, this isn't good, right? What's not good about it? Let's go and see. Ma Xiaofeng blushed and said, No, Sister Ping'er. If we look, we will definitely see their naked bodies. I don't think it's good. Chapter 2266. Because of Zhao Ping'er's teasing, Ma Xiaofeng's face became even redder. Speaking of which, it wasn't that she hadn't seen a man's body, but it was Dr. Sun's. And Dr. Sun was an old man, so he was different from ordinary men. Ma Xiaofeng had never seen such a young and impetuous man before. Therefore Zhao Ping'er's words weren't entirely wrong. Zhao Ping'er saw that Ma Xiaofeng was shy, so she patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder and said, Xiaofeng, it's okay if you're embarrassed. I'll go alone. Anyway, I've seen it before, so there's no need to be embarrassed. Ma Xiaofeng was shy and a little curious at the same time. What did it look like for someone else to have sex in the grass? Would the scene be very exciting? If she didn't see it this time, she wouldn't have such an opportunity next time. After thinking about it, Ma Xiaofeng decided to go with Zhao Ping'er. Anyway, Zhao Ping'er was embarrassed, so what was there for her to be embarrassed about? Moreover, it was Zhao Ping'er who suggested it first. She was just an accompaniment. Sister Ping, I'll go with you, Ma Xiaofeng said weakly. Okay, let's go together. The two of them held hands and walked towards the grass together. The closer they got, the clearer the sounds were, and the ecstatic sounds made people's hearts feel a little numb. When they got closer, Zhao Ping'er frowned and noticed that something was wrong. She whispered to Ma Xiaofeng, Something's not right, this sound is a little wrong. Sister Ping'er, what's wrong? Zhao Ping'er's frown deepened. This sound is a bit like my aunt's. What, your aunt? Yes. No way. Ma Xiaofeng opened her mouth in surprise. If it were your aunt, who would she be doing this with now? Zhao Ping'er shook her head. I don't know. It could be my big brother Yuan or some other man. It would be better if it was another man. If Qin Yuan knew about this, he would definitely not forgive your aunt, Ma Xiaofeng said. She had seen through the situation. As a man, no matter how much he liked a woman, he would never allow this woman to cheat on him. Qin Yuan was a man with strong self-esteem. He would never forgive Zhao Xinhui for betraying him. I'm just afraid that it's not some other man but big brother Yuan. Zhao Ping'er sighed. The two of them carefully parted the bushes and saw Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui naked. Zhao Xinhui seemed to be enjoying himself. Although she had more or less expected it, Zhao Ping'er still felt uncomfortable when she saw such a scene. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were in a state of oblivion. How would they know that they had already been discovered? Qin Yuan said to Zhao Xinhui, it's so exciting to do it here. It's so comfortable. Zhao Xinhui groaned a few times and replied to Qin Yuan with satisfaction. Yes, it's so comfortable and exciting. Qin Yuan, you're really amazing. I used to think that you were quite ordinary and looked weak. I didn't expect you to be so amazing. I really underestimated you in the past. Qin Yuan smiled proudly and said, of course. How could I not be amazing? As the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. If you don't try, you can't jump to conclusions easily. Yes, it's my fault. You're amazing. Good. Qin Yuan smiled proudly. Chapter 2267. Zhao Ping'er felt as if her heart had been pierced by something. It hurt so much. Because she loved Qin Yuan, she naturally didn't want to see Qin Yuan doing that kind of thing to another woman and even saying sweet nothings to her. This would make her understand that Qin Yuan only had Zhao Xinhui in his heart and not her. When Qin Yuan did this kind of thing with her in the past, he would keep his head down and never say a word. However, when facing Zhao Xinhui, he babbled so much. This meant that to Qin Yuan, doing that kind of thing with her was purely to satisfy his physical needs. However, with Zhao Xinhui, it was also a deeper way to express his love. Zhao Xinhui whined and said, "Qin Yuan, are you comfortable?" Qin Yuan answered without hesitation, "Comfortable, of course I'm comfortable. Let's do more of this kind of stimulation in the future, okay?" Zhao Xinhui replied, "Okay, I really want to marry you immediately. Then we can do it day and night. I'm going to do it 10 times a day. I'm going to eat you up." As Qin Yuan said this, he lowered his head and bit Zhao Xinhui's chest hard. Zhao Xinhui gritted her teeth in pain and said, "Ouch, it hurts." "Qin Yuan, what nonsense are you talking about? 10 times a day. It's not that you want to eat me up, I'm afraid that I'll squeeze you dry." Qin Yuan smiled wretchedly and said, "How can that be? I have good stamina, so it won't happen. I can do it 10 times a day." "Haha, if you can do it, then I can do it too. Okay, then we'll do it every day." Hearing Qin Yuan's words, Zhao Ping felt even more stifled. For the past few nights, when she slept with Qin Yuan, she wanted to do it. However, Qin Yuan said that he didn't have the energy to do it and didn't want to do it. However, now that he was in front of Zhao Xinhui, he gave a different explanation. To put it bluntly, it was because Qin Yuan didn't like her and didn't want to do it with her. Qin Yuan liked Zhao Xinhui, so he didn't want Zhao Xinhui enough. The wound in Zhao Ping'er's heart, which was stabbed by Qin Yuan, began to bleed. It was so painful that she couldn't breathe. Why is this happening? Qin Yuan was her husband. How could he treat her like this? Ma Xiaofeng saw the explosive scene in front of her and quickly retracted her gaze after a few glances. When she saw Zhao Ping'er's sad expression, she comforted her in a low voice. "Sister Ping'er, don't look anymore. Let's go. Since you know that Qin Yuan doesn't like you, it's useless to be sad." Zhao Ping'er couldn't stay any longer, so the two of them left quietly. Ma Xiaofeng didn't know how to comfort Zhao Ping'er when she saw how depressed she was. Actually, she could understand Qin Yuan's feelings. After all, Zhao Ping'er was so ugly and men cared more about appearance. It was normal that he didn't like Zhao Ping'er. If Zhao Ping'er was a little prettier and looked as delicate and pretty as Zhao Xinhui, Qin Yuan wouldn't have done such a thing. Unfortunately, some things were predestined and couldn't be changed. Zhao Ping'er had a hard life, but she was helpless. She had experienced so many miserable things in the past. When she was young, she didn't have a good day. It wasn't easy for her to meet Zhao Tianan. Today, Zhao Tianan married another woman. At most, she and Zhao Ping'er were in the same boat. Both of them had a hard life. However, they couldn't blame anyone else. This was their fate and they could only accept it. Chapter 2268. Zhao Ping'er took a while to recover from her shock. She cursed in a low voice, "My aunt is too shameless. She dragged Big Brother Yuan to have sex in the bushes in broad daylight. How can she be so thick-skinned? She doesn't know shame at all. No wonder she would even snatch her own niece's husband." After hearing Zhao Ping'er's words, Ma Xiaofeng's eyes moved. She then said to Zhao Ping'er, "Big sister Ping'er, since they treated you so badly, why don't you not let them off so easily?" "Xiaofeng, what do you mean by that?" Ma Xiaofeng patiently explained to Zhao Ping'er, "Big sister Ping'er, it's intolerable for your aunt to be together with her own niece's husband. If this matter were to be leaked out, everyone would scold your aunt to death. Due to the rumors, Qin Yuan and your aunt probably won't be able to be together. When that time comes, won't Qin Yuan belong to you alone?" The reason why Ma Xiaofeng said this was because she was calculating in her heart that if this matter were to be leaked out, Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui might be drowned in a pig cage. If Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were to really be drowned in a pig cage, then wouldn't the restaurant in town belong to Zhao Ping'er and her now? Now, her share of the restaurant's profits was very small. Without Qin Yuan, with Zhao Ping'er's intelligence, she could slowly swindle more from Zhao Ping'er. Even if she wasn't drowned in a pig cage, as long as Qin Yuan wasn't together with Zhao Xinhui, it was still good for her. The only thing Ma Xiaofeng was afraid of now was that when Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan started to live together, they would slowly close the restaurant. At that time, they would definitely complain that she didn't pay much but got 10% of the restaurant's profits. If they took back even this 10% of the restaurant's profits, how could she live in the future? He didn't have much ability and couldn't earn much money. The only thing he could rely on now was this restaurant. Zhao Ping hesitated. She frowned and muttered, "Xiao Feng, is this really okay? Will I implicate Big Brother Yuan? When the time comes, you can just say that it was your aunt who seduced you and push all the blame to Qin Yuan." Zhao Ping thought about it carefully and felt that it was indeed possible. "Xiao Feng, that's fine, but how are we going to spread the news? Call people over and let them see Qin Yuan and your aunt having sex in the open. You don't need to say anything. Can't everyone see it? But Xiao Feng, we can't call people over. That's because Big Brother Yuan knows that I was the one who did it. He definitely won't forgive me in the future and will be angry with me. When the time comes, he definitely won't be with me anymore." Zhao Ping voiced the worry in her heart. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping's shoulder and comforted Zhao Ping. "Big sister Ping, don't worry. Leave this matter to me. I'll help you settle it. From now on, it has nothing to do with you. Even if Qin Yuan finds out, they will look for me and blame me. They won't blame you." Seeing Ma Xiaofeng being so righteous, Zhao Ping was touched for a moment. "Xiao Feng, you're so good to me." Ma Xiaofeng smiled. "Big sister Ping, don't be silly. You're my good friend. If I'm not good to you, who else can I be good to?" Zhao Ping nodded heavily. Chapter 2269. Ma Xiaofeng's words immediately caused panic and restlessness among the villagers. There was a tiger in the village before. This tiger was not an ordinary animal. It was very fierce and it even ate people. If it was not dealt with properly, it would be a hidden danger. It could come to the village and make trouble at any time. If someone was hurt and lost their life, the situation would be serious and terrible. When people were anxious and panicked, they would not think so much. They did not think carefully about who shouted this sentence. Everyone was anxious about what to do when the tiger came. At this moment, all the people in the village gathered together. There was strength in numbers and they might be able to deal with the tiger. If they did not think of a way to deal with the tiger today, the whole village would be in a panic. Who would dare to continue to walk in the village? The villagers gathered together and discussed. This time, Lord Li Zheng also came to the banquet at Yu Erjia's place. The county magistrate was also present. Hearing that there was a tiger coming down the mountain and making trouble in the village, the county magistrate attached great importance to it. He was originally helping the people in Yang City to deal with these trivial matters. Now that the villagers were in danger, as a parent, he should stand out and help to think of a way to deal with it. The county magistrate first asked what was going on. The villagers briefly told the county magistrate about the tiger coming down the mountain. Because the tiger had already hurt people before, the county magistrate felt that they should treat it more seriously. After consideration, he decided to let the men in the village gather together and take hoes, ropes and other tools to kill the tiger. In this way they could get rid of all future troubles and avoid the risk of being attacked by the tiger in the future. Under the county magistrate's organization, everyone carried the hose, carrying poles, shovels and ropes from Zhao Yiner's house. The group of people gathered together and walked towards the back room of Zhao Yiner's house. Zhao Ping frowned. She was a little worried when she saw this situation. She could not help but pull Ma Xiaofeng's sleeve and whispered in Ma Xiaofeng's ear, "Xiaofeng, will we make a big deal out of it?" Seeing Zhao Ping being so cautious, Ma Xiaofeng secretly cursed Zhao Ping for being so useless. However, she didn't want to hurt Zhao Ping's feelings, so she didn't say it out loud. Instead, she patiently explained to Zhao Ping, "It's better if you make a big fuss. If you don't make a big fuss, who will be able to see the Qin Yuan and your aunt's wedding? Only when everyone knows about it will your aunt be reviled and despised, and then she won't be able to be with Qin Yuan." Zhao Ping sighed and didn't say anything. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping's shoulder and comforted her. "Well, Ping, don't think too much. Anyway, things have already come to this point. It's useless for you to worry. Let's follow them and see what the situation is like." Zhao Ping nodded, "Okay." The strong men in the village walked in front, and many curious women who wanted to join in the fun walked behind them. Originally, everyone was very scared. However, when there were more people, they felt that there was strength in numbers. Nothing serious should happen. When they walked to the back of Zhao Yiner's house, they found that the grass was moving. Everyone thought that there was a tiger inside, so they carefully went over and wanted to catch the tiger. When they rushed over, they found that something was wrong. Chapter 2270. When the man exclaimed, the hearts of the people behind him could not help but tighten. They thought that something big had happened. Everyone took a step back in fear. If the tiger pounced on them, they would definitely die. After a while, they realized that something was wrong. The man in the lead said, this. A man behind him mustered up his courage and asked, what exactly did you see? Someone is actually doing that in the grass in broad daylight. After the man said that, the people behind him immediately exploded. They thought that they had encountered a tiger, but in the end they realized that they had bumped into someone else. At this moment, the big commotion also brought Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan back to their senses. Seeing that more and more people were swarming over, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan asked anxiously, Qin Yuan, why are there so many people suddenly here? What should we do? Qin Yuan's mind was also a little blank. How could he know why so many people suddenly came here? With so many people here, wouldn't what he and Zhao Xinhui did be known by many people? The problem was that they could not hide now. With so many people here, where could they escape to? Zhao Xinhui continued to pat Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan, what should we do? Hurry up and think of a way. Sob. If others find out, how can I face others in the future? Qin Yuan tried hard to calm himself down. Then he hurriedly picked up the clothes on the ground and wrapped them around Zhao Xinhui's body so that Zhao Xinhui would not be discovered. Then he hurriedly took another set of clothes and covered his lower body. As soon as he was done, the two of them were surrounded by the villagers. Qin Yuan nervously protected Zhao Xinhui in his arms, afraid that Zhao Xinhui would be seen by other men. As a normal man, he naturally did not like his woman being seen by others. When the crowd saw Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan hugging each other in ragged clothes, they knew what had happened just now. For a moment, everyone started discussing. If we didn't come to the backyard to catch a tiger, who would have thought that these two people would actually do such a shameful thing in the grassland? That's right. Of all the places to settle it, why did you have to come here to discuss people? Isn't this Zhao Pinger's man? How did she get together with Zhao Xinhui? One is the younger sister-in-law, and the other is the younger sister-in-law. If the two of them do such a thing, isn't that incest? Isn't this incest? TSK. These two people are too shameless. This is simply unheard of. If we hadn't seen it with our own eyes, who would have known that my aunt and niece-in-law would be able to pull off such a trick? He's simply fooling around. He's worse than a beast. He'll definitely be punished by the heavens. Ping is really a pitiful girl. Back then when she was poor, she married into the Qin Yuan. Now that she has opened a restaurant and is rich, in the blink of an eye, she got together with her sister-in-law. Oh my God, how can there be such a person? It's fine if that man is not a good thing, but Zhao Xinhui is Zhao Pinger's elder, right? An elder stole a younger generation's man. How shameless can she be? Haven't you heard? Zhao Xinhui is a vixen. She relies on her face to seduce men. Didn't she seduce a rich man's son before? He even took her back and made her a concubine. She lived a good life for a while. Chapter 2271. So Zhao Xinhui has taken a liking to Qin Yuan's wealth and wants him to take her to live a good life. That's why she deliberately seduced Qin Yuan and charmed him? Isn't that the same as openly snatching her niece's man? How can there be such a shameless woman in our village? She's a scourge. Fortunately, our man doesn't have much ability. Otherwise he would definitely be targeted by her. At that time she would also seduce him. What a shameless vixen. What kind of daughter did he raise in old Zhao's family? She treasures him all the time, but in the end she's a shameless person. She's just a slut. She's so disgusting. The women were chattering away, and it was very lively. However, they scolded Zhao Xinhui badly and almost killed Zhao Xinhui. Although Zhao Xinhui was thick-skinned, she naturally felt uncomfortable being scolded by so many people. She looked at Qin Yuan pitifully, pulled Qin Yuan's hand and asked in a low voice, Qin Yuan, what should we do now? I don't want to hear these people gossip anymore. Hurry up and think of a solution. Qin Yuan sighed and said, I don't have a choice. There are too many people and they won't listen to me no matter what I say. Moreover, they won't listen to me when they decide on something. Zhao Xinhui's brows knitted together. She was angry and anxious, but there was nothing she could do. Because of this, more and more people came over to join in the fun. Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui stood on the spot anxiously and were scolded by these people. After a while, the deputy district magistrate and the village chief came over together and asked what was going on. Immediately, someone reported to the deputy district magistrate, Sir, we came to catch the tiger and saw something strange in the bushes. We thought the tiger was inside. Who knew that after we rushed in we found that it wasn't the case. It was a man and a woman who were having an affair inside. After listening to the report, the county deputy immediately frowned and looked very unhappy. this kind of thing was indeed immoral. Although it was normal for men and women to have sex, it was fine if they did it at home, but to run out into the bushes and make it known to everyone, it was really not good. This would only spread the obscenity of the entire society. At this time, someone immediately added, "Deputy County Magistrate, these two people not only did indecent things, but also committed incest. One is her sister-in-law, and the other is her niece's son-in-law. Do you think two people with such status can mess around here?" After hearing this, the county deputy's face darkened immediately. His displeased gaze fell on Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui, who were in the grass. Needless to say, this kind of thing was indeed incestuous, and the heavens would not tolerate it. If these two people were to be indulged, wouldn't society be corrupted by them in the future? The people around were discussing secretly. Since the deputy county magistrate was angry, it was estimated that Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan would not have a good time. If they were really to be held accountable, the two of them would be drowned in a pig's cage. Someone wanted to see a vixen like Zhao Xinhui be punished, so he deliberately raised his voice and muttered, "This kind of incestuous person must be punished properly. Otherwise, who knows if it will affect the other people in the village in the future." Chapter 2272. As long as the county magistrate is here, he will definitely make the decision and punish these two shameless people severely. If he doesn't punish this kind of incestuous people, it won't be enough to convince the public. In the discussion of the crowd, the county magistrate knew that as a man of justice, he must solve this matter properly and not let the people be dissatisfied with him. Once he provoked the public's anger, the situation would be too serious, and even he couldn't bear it. The county magistrate's face became more serious. He stared at Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan and scolded them coldly, "How dare you do this kind of thing in broad daylight? Do you know what you've done is wrong?" Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan looked at the county magistrate with trembling eyes. If it was an ordinary person, they wouldn't be afraid. But facing the county magistrate, they were naturally very nervous. In addition, the county magistrate had a kind of majesty, which made people tremble for a moment. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were so scared that their legs trembled. How could they say anything? The county magistrate was even more unhappy. He continued to scold Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui coldly, "What? Don't you want to answer me? I'm not like you two. Don't you know what you've done is wrong?" Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were so scared that they directly knelt on the ground and said tremblingly, "County magistrate, we know what we've done is wrong." The county magistrate snorted coldly, "Since you know what you've done is wrong and you've done such a dirty thing, tell me how you should be punished." Zhao Xinhui wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and complained tearfully, "County magistrate, please let us go. We know what we've done is wrong." Qin Yuan hurriedly echoed, "Yes. County magistrate, please be kind and let us go. We won't dare to do it again." The county magistrate frowned, "If I let you go today and don't punish you, it will spoil the public's morals. I don't know how many people will do such immoral things in the future. The punishment must be severe. But you mentioned it first. If I think it's acceptable, I can accept it. This is the opportunity I'm giving you. If you don't say it, I can only ask others. Only when you get a fair and satisfactory result can this matter not be discussed." Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan looked at each other and said in their hearts, "It's over, it's over." If they were punished, it would be fine if the punishment was light. But if the punishment was a little heavy, they would be in trouble. Compared to the incestuous things, Zhao Xinhui's actions. But even so, each of them still suffered dozens of beatings and almost lost their lives. Zhao Xinhui felt that her body was very weak right now. She definitely wouldn't be able to withstand a little bit of torment. What if she's zzz? She finally got through the hard days and was about to live a good life with Qin Yuan. Who knew that these things would happen again? Zhao Xinhui had a bitter face and complained to Qin Yuan. He whispered in Qin Yuan's ear, "Hey, I told you not to mess around. If we go back to my room today, we'll be found out. Why should we be punished now? It's all your fault." Chapter 2273. Qin Yuan looked at Zhao Xinhui apologetically and said in a low voice, How could I bear to watch you die? I didn't expect this, right? If I had known that we would be found out, I would never have dragged you here, and I wouldn't have harmed the two of us." Zhao Xinhui couldn't help but sniffle. How could she still listen to Qin Yuan's apology? "It's all your fault, all your fault. If anything happens to me, I won't let you off." Qin Yuan looked at Zhao Xinhui and didn't know what to say. But what was the point of saying these things now? They still couldn't change the current situation. Right now, they should think of a way to reduce the punishment for the two of them instead of saying these useless things. Qin Yuan rolled his eyes and then complained to the county magistrate, "County magistrate, the two of us are truly in love. Please don't blame us." After Qin Yuan said this, the surrounding villagers all snorted in disdain. This scumbag and slut hooked up with each other and still had the nerve to say these things. What love? So what if they were truly in love? Even so, they couldn't be incestuous like this. What was he trying to say about his first wife? The county magistrate reprimanded them with a stern face. Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were so frightened that they trembled for a moment. Zhao Xinhui said unhappily, "Qin Yuan, don't say these things to anger the county magistrate. This will only make things worse for the two of us." Qin Yuan was at his wits' end. Since they were the ones who suggested the punishment first, they naturally didn't want to be punished. Unfortunately, it seemed that it was impossible now. If the county magistrate's people took the initiative to speak, they would be the ones to suffer. Qin Yuan had no choice but to say, "County magistrate's people, we know we were wrong and are willing to accept the punishment. Why don't you punish each of us with 30 strokes of the cane?" The county magistrate said to Li Zheng, "What do you think of 30 strokes of the cane?" Li Zheng frowned. 30 strokes of the cane were neither light nor heavy. Anyway, if they were to be beaten, they would definitely suffer for a while. However, Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui's influence was too bad. If they were to be beaten 30 strokes of the cane, it wouldn't be enough to convince the public. Before Li Zheng could say what he was thinking, the surrounding villagers started to jeer. "Oh, 30 strokes of the cane are not enough. Back then, Zhao Wenshui and Widow Qian were beaten more than 30 strokes of the cane. This kind of incest is much more serious." That's right, and Zhao Wenshui's 30 paddles were done with the forgiveness of his wife. That last Ping didn't even say anything. She said that she forgave the two of them for what they did. 30 strokes of the cane is still too light. The county magistrates Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui didn't seem to be repentant at all. It was obviously unrealistic to ask them to suggest a suitable punishment. The county magistrate simply asked the others. Seeing that the county magistrate took the initiative to ask, the villagers didn't let go of the opportunity and began to talk. "County magistrate, I think it's not enough for each of them to be beaten 100 strokes of the cane." 100 strokes of the cane? Don't joke, 100 strokes of the cane would kill them. I think 50 strokes of the cane are enough. Chapter 2274. Yes, they should be beaten to death. We can't let these people continue to harm the village. They've ruined the culture of our village. If this matter is spread out, our village will be disgraced. Shouldn't they be drowned in a pig cage for committing adultery? Yes, drowned in a pig cage. Deputy County Magistrate, please directly put these two people into a pig cage, so that they won't continue to harm the village. The villagers talked about drowning in a pig cage one after another, and the Deputy County Magistrate's eyebrows knitted together. He still valued human life, so he wouldn't easily punish people for murder unless it was under special circumstances. At this time, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were so scared that their legs had already turned to jelly. Drowned in a pig cage? Then wouldn't they die? They were still so young, and now that the restaurant's business was good, they could slowly live a good life. How could they be willing to die now? If they died, they would lose everything. Then what was the point of pursuing so much before? Qin Yuan was so scared that he wet his pants, and his face was abnormally pale. Zhao Xinhui was so scared that she cried. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and whispered to Qin Yuan, Woo, Qin Yuan, I don't want to die. I'm still so young, I don't want to die." Qin Yuan also cried and said, I don't want to die either." Woo. Deputy County Magistrate, you won't really put us into a pig cage, right? How uncomfortable would it be to be drowned alive? If you really have to die, then you should die quickly. You can't die so painfully. No, we won't drown in a pig cage. Qin Yuan held Zhao Xinhui's hand and said seriously. He was comforting Zhao Xinhui and himself at the same time. At this time, after hearing the news, Zhao Wentao hurriedly ran to the front yard to inform old Zhao's family. Meanwhile, Hua Chunhua was sitting in Zhao Yun'er's house eating melon seeds. Mother? Zhao Wentao anxiously called out to Hua Chunhua. By the time he arrived in front of Hua Chunhua, he was already panting from exhaustion. It was as if he couldn't catch his breath. Hua Chunhua spat out the shell of the sunflower seed in her mouth. She glanced at Zhao Wentao and replied indifferently, What are you shouting for? Look at how anxious you are. What can happen? After Zhao Wentao took a few deep breaths, he pulled Hu Chuanhua's hand and dragged her out of the house. He said to Hu Chuanhua, "Mother, quickly go to the back of the house. Something big has happened." Hu Chuanhua slapped Zhao Wentao's hand away and said calmly, "Isn't it just a tiger? What was there to look at? A large group of people gathered together and they still wanted to fight a tiger? How dangerous is that? You haven't seen a tiger before, so you don't know how powerful it is. Anyway, I won't foolishly throw my life away like you guys. It's safer to sit in the house. It's more comfortable to eat melon seeds." Zhao Wentao hurriedly waved his hand and explained to Hu Chuanhua, "Mother, it's not a tiger. Something happened to little sister. Mother, quickly go to the back of the house and take a look." Upon hearing that something had happened to Zhao Xinhui, Hu Chuanhua hurriedly stood up and asked Zhao Wentao, "What? Something happened to your little sister? What happened to her?" Zhao Wentao frowned and sighed, "Mother, little sister had an affair with that guy from Qinyuan, and they were doing it in the grass. In the end they were discovered. In the end, the county magistrate was prepared to punish the two of them. He said that they would be drowned in a pig cage." Chapter 2275. Hu Chuanhua immediately panicked when she heard that she was going to be drowned in a pig cage. Other snacks were fine, but drowning in a pig cage was a big deal. It would implicate Zhao Xinhui's life. She only had one daughter, so she definitely didn't want anything to happen to Zhao Xinhui. If Zhao Xinhui was really drowned in a pig cage, then she, as an old woman, wouldn't want to live anymore. Hu Chuanhua suddenly felt her legs go weak. If Zhao Wentao hadn't supported her in time, she would have fallen to the ground. "Mother, we have to think of a way to deal with little sister now. You're usually the most opinionated. Let's hurry over and see if we can reduce little sister's punishment." Zhao Wentao whispered into Hu Chuanhua's ear. Hu Chuanhua held her breath and said in a trembling voice, "Let's go. Hurry and help me over." "Okay, mother." Zhao Wentao responded, then helped Hu Chuanhua to the backyard. When old Zhao's family heard the news, they hurriedly followed and went to the backyard of old Zhao's house. Zhao Baoshan's face was gloomy. While he was worried about his daughter, he was also secretly angry. From now on, he probably wouldn't be able to hold his head up high in the village anymore. His daughter had done such a thing and old Zhao's family had become such a big joke. Wherever he went, he would be talked about. He didn't expect that at his age he would lose all his dignity today. Speaking of which, this matter was also Hu Chuanhua's fault. If it weren't for this old woman's indulgence, how could things have turned out like this? Unfortunately, it was useless to regret it now. Since it had already happened, it couldn't be changed. Now they could only listen to what the county magistrate had to say. What kind of punishment would Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan be meted out? Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng stood in the crowd and saw that the situation was getting worse. Zhao Ping'er couldn't accept the idea of being drowned in a pig cage. She resented her aunt and didn't want any harm to come to Qin Yuan. If the Qin Yuan was implicated and drowned in a pig cage, how could she live alone in the world? Zhao Ping'er anxiously turned Ma Xiaofeng's sleeves and said to Ma Xiaofeng, "Xiaofeng, what should we do now? Big brother Yuan wouldn't really be drowned in a pig cage, right?" Ma Xiaofeng glanced at Zhao Ping'er and felt that Zhao Ping'er was very useless. Wouldn't it be better if Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were drowned in a pig cage? Then the restaurant in Yang City would belong to her alone. Unfortunately, Zhao Ping'er only cared about one man in her heart, and it was a man who did not love her. It was not worth it at all. "Big sister Ping'er, don't worry. They definitely won't be drowned in a pig cage. But Xiaofeng, the county magistrate is so angry. It's inevitable that he will listen to these people and put Big Brother Yuan and my aunt in a pig cage." "Big sister Ping'er, it's useless for you to be anxious now. The county magistrate has the final say on how to punish the two of them." Zhao Ping'er felt a little regretful at this moment. "If I had known, I wouldn't have let others know. I can't live without Big Brother Yuan." Ma Xiaofeng took a deep breath. "Big sister Ping'er, don't be so disheartened. Qin Yuan did such a thing to you. Why are you still thinking about him? There are so many men in this world. He's not the only one. His heart isn't with you anymore. Why don't you find another one?" Chapter 2276. Sister Ping'er, when the birthmark and freckles on your face are cured, you will become a great beauty. You also have a restaurant and can earn so much money. Are you afraid that you can't find a good-looking man? I think you should stop thinking about Qin Yuan. It's not worth it. Zhao Ping'er lowered her head and said with grievance, I just like Brother Yuan. I just miss him in my heart. I don't like other men. Ma Xiaofeng found that she couldn't communicate with Zhao Ping'er. No matter how much this useless woman said, it was useless. In her opinion, Zhao Ping'er was a masochist. Qin Yuan treated her like this. Why was she still reluctant to let go of this man? Let's wait and see. We will know how the magistrate will punish them. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping'er's shoulder and comforted her. When Hua Chunhua arrived at the backyard of Zhao Yiner's house and saw the situation in front of her, she immediately cried and shouted, "Magistrate, please be merciful and let our Ping'er go. She is not sensible and I will teach her well when we go back. I only have one daughter. If she is drowned in a pig cage, I can't live on." The magistrate glanced at Hua Chunhua lightly and saw that Hua Chunhua's old mother was crying pitifully. Although he didn't say anything, he was moved in his heart. The villagers were clamoring to drown Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan in a pig cage. He pondered for a while and thought that it was too cruel. Nowadays, the Zhou country was more civilized than before. Drowning in a pig cage was rare. At most, they would give some punishment. Zhao Wentao also pleaded for leniency. "County deputy, my sister is usually not sensible. What happened today was really wrong, but the punishment of being drowned in a pig cage is too severe. County deputy, please show mercy and spare their lives." Old Zhao's family pleaded for leniency, and the surrounding villagers were not afraid of making a big deal out of it. How could they be willing to let Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan off so easily? "Aya, you're already a grown-up girl, yet you're still saying that you're insensible. Who are you trying to impress? If you didn't teach him well in the past, you have to bear the responsibility now. Don't even think about trying to absolve yourself. These two people should be drowned in a pig cage." That's right. How could the old Zhao family not know that their sister-in-law and niece-in-law are together? Since you all know and still indulge in it, you don't have the face to beg for mercy. No wonder I saw the two of them acting weird when I passed by old Zhao's courtyard. It turns out they've been together for a long time. I don't know what old Zhao's family is thinking. They don't even know how to comfort them. Especially this old Zhao. Her daughter did something seductive and she didn't even educate her properly. Look at what happened now. Serves them right. Hearing old Zhao's family pleading for leniency and hearing the villagers' words, the county deputy felt a little embarrassed. Li Zheng, who was standing on the side, saw the county deputy's embarrassment, so he suggested to the county deputy, "Sir, it's really not right for these two people to be together. But you can ask Ping'er's opinion first. She's the one who was hurt the most. Qin Yuan is her husband, so you can ask her if she forgives her husband's behavior. If she forgives him, then the punishment can be reduced." The county deputy's suggestion was very reasonable, so he asked someone to invite Zhao Ping'er. Chapter 2277. In order to avoid Qin Yuan's punishment, Zhao Ping'er could only push all the blame to Zhao Xinhui. No matter how the magistrate punished Zhao Xinhui, it had nothing to do with her. Anyway, she didn't care. If the Qin Yuan wasn't punished and Zhao Xinhui was killed, she would be happier. Without her sister-in-law, the vixen, Qin Yuan would belong to her alone. Moreover, she could get rid of her sister-in-law and the Qin Yuan couldn't blame her. After all, she did this for the Qin Yuan. How could the Qin Yuan blame her? Zhao Ping'er continued to complain tearfully, "Magistrate, if you want to punish someone, punish my sister-in-law alone. It was my sister-in-law who seduced my husband on purpose. She shamelessly threw herself at him and my husband couldn't refuse. If my sister-in-law had behaved properly, my husband wouldn't have done such a dirty thing. If you want to punish someone, the one who seduced him must be severely punished. Magistrate, you're so wise. You can't punish my husband." After Zhao Ping'er finished complaining tearfully, Hua Chunhua, who was beside her, suddenly exploded. She was so angry that she directly rushed to Zhao Ping'er and scratched Zhao Ping'er with her black claws. She scolded while scratching, "You wicked girl. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? You only know how to protect your husband. Is this Qin Yuan more important than your sister-in-law?" When Zhao Ping'er saw Hua Chunhua's claws coming, she was so scared that she hurriedly dodged. If she hadn't dodged in time, her face would have been scratched by Hua Chunhua. Hua Chunhua didn't catch anything. She was unwilling to give up, so she stretched out her claws and continued to scratch Zhao Ping'er. At this moment she finally grabbed Zhao Ping'er's hair and scolded Zhao Ping'er, "Bitch, who told you to talk nonsense? Let's see how I'll punish you." Hua Chunhua's hands were heavy, pulling Zhao Ping'er's head so hard that it was about to fall off. Zhao Ping'er screamed in pain. "Ah, murder! Help! My grandmother wants to kill me." Zhao Ping'er was also not a kind person. Since Hu Chunhua was making trouble for her, she simply made trouble too. After the screams, the surrounding villagers all felt that Hu Chunhua had gone too far. His daughter was a human being and he treated her like a treasure. Was his granddaughter not a human being? She hit so hard, wasn't she afraid of killing someone? Hu Chunhua's eyes were clouded with a layer of haze. She continued to spit at Zhao Ping'er and scolded her, "Bitch, you still have the nerve? Today I'll skin you alive. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll forget that your surname is Zhao, not Qin. For a stinky man, you're slandering your aunt. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" A piece of Zhao Ping'er's hair was directly torn off and fell to the ground. Looking at the bloody mess, Zhao Ping'er felt that she was in so much pain that she couldn't breathe. Wasn't this old woman too cruel? She forcefully tore off her hair. Her hair was so precious. Wouldn't she become bald if her hair was torn off? Which woman could stand it? Originally, Zhao Ping'er didn't want to hit Hu Chunhua. Now she couldn't hold it anymore and directly fought with Hu Chunhua. Chapter 2278. Hu Chunhua was also scratched painfully and couldn't stand it. She was old, so her physical strength couldn't keep up. No matter how fierce she was, she couldn't be as fierce as Zhao Ping'er. After all, Zhao Ping'er was much stronger than her. The onlookers saw that the two people were fighting very hard, so they were also very interested. They hadn't seen such a lively scene in the village for many years. Now they were all excited to watch the show for fear of missing any details. Seeing that Zhao Ping'er was hitting her, Hu Chunhua fought back with more strength. The two people were wrestling with each other, and they almost stabbed each other to death with their knives. They screamed miserably as they fought. After a while, the county magistrate's face had already darkened. In front of him, the two people were so excessive that they directly fought with each other. Didn't they completely look down on him, the county magistrate? The county magistrate's face was cold and he scolded Zhao Ping'er and Hu Chunhua, "Stop it." When he shouted for the first time, the two people were still wrestling with each other, and they didn't want to let go. After seeing this, the county magistrate was very angry, and he continued to scold them in a muffled voice. "Did you hear what I said? Stop it right now. If you don't stop, don't blame me for bringing you to the yamen." The county magistrate also reminded them at the right time, and he said to Zhao Ping'er and Hu Chunhua sternly, "Did you two hear that? Do you want to ignore the county magistrate? I think you two are so bold that you're not afraid of being arrested and brought to the yamen, right?" Zhao Ping'er and Hu Chunhua finally calmed down. They were ordinary people, how dare they go to the yamen? If the deputy district magistrate got angry, they would really lose their lives. After Zhao Ping'er let go of Hu Chunhua, she hurriedly knelt in front of the county magistrate, and she cried with an aggrieved face, "County magistrate, you have to do justice for me. I was just speaking the truth just now. Look at how my grandmother actually hit me. She even used such a heavy hand on me. County magistrate, what I said is the truth. My aunt is a vixen, and she seduced my husband a long time ago. If you want to punish my aunt, punish her severely and give my husband a lighter punishment." Seeing that Zhao Ping'er was on her husband's side, it meant that she forgave Qin Yuan for what they had done. As his wife, she didn't pursue it, so the punishment of Qin Yuan naturally wouldn't be too severe. Hu Chunhua glared at Zhao Ping'er fiercely and then complained to the county deputy. "County magistrate, don't listen to this girl's nonsense. It's obvious that the guy from Qin Yuan took a fancy to our Hui'er first, and he kept seducing her. Our Hui'er was fascinated by him. So the punishment should be heavier on the guy from Qin Yuan, and it should be lighter on our Hui'er, who asked him to seduce her first. If he didn't pester our Hui'er wouldn't have done such a thing." The county magistrate saw that Zhao Ping'er and Hu Chunhua both had their own opinions. One of them put the blame on Qin Yuan, while the other put the blame on Zhao Xinhui. Before the truth was made clear, the county magistrate couldn't determine who the culprit was. "You two tell me the reason. If one of you is the one who took the initiative and the other one is the passive one." Chapter 2279. The deputy county magistrate directly threw this question to Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui, asking them to answer it themselves. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan looked at each other. Obviously, as long as they betrayed the other person would receive a lighter punishment. Zhao Xinhui hurriedly poked Qin Yuan, hinting Qin Yuan to make it clear. "Qin Yuan, I didn't like you at first. It was you who kept pestering me. After you kept pestering me, I slowly started to consider you and be with you. Don't forget. Now that the deputy county magistrate asks you this question, hurry up and say that you seduced me. Then I won't be drowned in a pig cage." Normally, Qin Yuan felt that he could protect Zhao Xinhui. However, at this time, Qin Yuan found that he couldn't do it. After all, he was too afraid of death, or he didn't love Zhao Xinhui that deeply. What if he said that he seduced Zhao Xinhui and was about to be drowned in a pig cage? He was still so young. He was only in his 20s, which was the time when he was young and vigorous. If he was so poor that he couldn't see any hope in the past, it would be fine. Now that he had finally opened the restaurant and his life was getting better and better, how could he be willing to die at this time? No. He had to live well. No matter how important Zhao Xinhui was to him, she was just a woman after all. His own life was more important. He had to keep his life so that he could live a good life in the future. After he had money, he could have any beautiful woman he wanted. It wasn't only Zhao Xinhui who couldn't have them. After thinking and struggling for a while, Qin Yuan finally decided not to tell the truth. Instead, he said to the deputy county magistrate, "Sir, neither of us seduced the other. We really love each other and got together. Sir, if you want to punish us, we are willing to accept it. But don't punish me severely." Qin Yuan's voice was trembling. He was so scared that he didn't dare to look into the eyes of the deputy county magistrate. Zhao Xinhui was a little unhappy. She glared at Qin Yuan and questioned Qin Yuan, "Qin Yuan, why don't you tell the truth? Do you have to make me suffer with you before you are happy? If you tell the truth, I can reduce your punishment. What are you trying to do?" Qin Yuan said with a bitter face, "Hui, can't we share the joys and sorrows together? Why do you want the other person to be punished more severely?" Zhao Xinhui rolled her eyes. "Qin Yuan, are you still a man? I'm a woman. You keep saying that you like me and want to protect me. Isn't your chance here now? As long as you talk to the county magistrate, I can receive a lighter punishment." However, Qin Yuan said, "Hui, if I say it, what if I get drowned in a pig cage? If I die, I'll leave you alone? Who will county magistrate? Who loves you? Don't you also like me? Wouldn't it be better for us to walk together? Why are you still arguing with me at this time?" "Wait, you don't like me, do you?" Zhao Xinhui said angrily. "Qin Yuan, I don't care if you are drowned in a pig cage. As long as I don't get drowned in a pig cage because of you. You are so interesting. Why do you want to drag me down with you when you die?" Qin Yuan didn't expect Zhao Xinhui to say that. In the face of life and death, Qin Yuan realized that the so-called love between the two of them was not enough. Chapter 2280. Although he felt the same way, Qin Yuan was still a little disappointed with Zhao Xinhui. Thinking about how he treated Zhao Xinhui with all his heart, he wanted to leave everything good for Zhao Xinhui. However, he had never asked about Zhao Ping'er. Sometimes his attitude towards Zhao Ping'er was very bad. However, compared to Zhao Xinhui, Zhao Ping'er obviously loved him more. Qin Yuan thought of what Zhao Ping'er said a long time ago. For him, she could sacrifice her life. In other words, to Zhao Ping'er, he was more important than herself. Just now, no one stood up to defend him. Only Zhao Ping'er stood on his side without hesitation and spoke up for him. Even though Zhao Ping'er knew that he had ended up like this because he had an affair with Zhao Xinhui, Zhao Ping'er still didn't argue with him. He had clearly done something wrong to her and made her sad. However, Zhao Ping'er didn't care about any of this at all. She only cared about him. If it was in the past, Qin Yuan probably wouldn't have cared. However, at this time he suddenly felt that Zhao Ping'er's selfless dedication was really rare and precious. And a strange feeling emerged in his heart towards Zhao Ping'er. In this world, the woman he loved was not as good as the woman who loved him. Zhao Xinhui was obviously more heartless for him, yet he still foolishly loved Zhao Xinhui and refused to let go. Seeing the aggressive Zhao Xinhui, Qin Yuan opened his mouth and suddenly felt a little funny. "Hui, so you don't want to die with me? Didn't we say that we would grow old together and live and die together? Have you forgotten our promise so quickly?" Zhao Xinhui replied impatiently, "Those were all lies. Did you take them seriously? Qin Sheng, hurry up and tell the county magistrate that you seduced me. Anyway, don't implicate me." Qin Yuan was silent for a while. Finally, he slowly opened his mouth and looked at the county magistrate. "County magistrate, I was the one who took the first step in this matter. I was the one who took a fancy to my aunt and asked her to confess her love. All of this happened because of me. If you want to punish me, please punish me severely. I hope the county magistrate can spare my aunt." When Qin Yuan said this, his heart turned cold. From now on, she didn't owe Zhao Xinhui anything and didn't want to be with Zhao Xinhui anymore. If they were still together in the future, then their sweet nothings could only be said to be very fake and disgusting. When they were whispering sweet nothings to each other, Wasn't everything that happened today a mockery? After hearing Qin Yuan's words, Zhao Ping'er's heart thumped loudly. She muttered in her heart, "It's over, it's over, it's over now." If the county magistrate really mercilessly punished her brother Yuan, then would he die? She finally got married with great difficulty and married such a handsome husband. She didn't want to be a widow at such a young age. Hua Chunhua heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Since Qin Yuan took the responsibility, then her Huiyer's punishment would be much lighter. Hua Chunhua curved the corners of her mouth and said to the county magistrate, "Deputy District Magistrate, you heard it now, right? It was that brat Qin Yuan who seduced my daughter first. Wasn't my daughter captivated by his fair and clean skin? Otherwise she wouldn't have done such a foolish thing." Chapter 2281. After hearing Hua Chunhua's words, Zhao Ping'er could only look at Qin Yuan anxiously. Her big brother Yuan was really stupid. At this time, why did he still not care about her and still want to speak up for Zhao Xinhui? Zhao Xinhui that B*TCH did not have any conscience at all. Once she thought that Qin Yuan might be severely punished, or even lose his life, Zhao Ping'er felt her whole body go limp, and she could not muster up any strength. Zhao Ping'er also followed Hua Chunhua's example. She knelt down in front of the county magistrate and pleaded tearfully, "My lord, I beg you to punish my husband lightly. If you want to blame someone, blame it on me. I'm too ugly. As long as it's a man, he definitely won't be able to accept my appearance. It's already very noble of my husband to be willing to marry me. I'm very touched. I can understand why he went to find another woman. If my appearance was slightly better, my husband would definitely not be like this. My lord, although he was bewitched for a moment and got together with another woman, he treats me extremely well. So I hope that my lord can be merciful and let my husband off lightly." Zhao Ping'er's words opened the eyes of the surrounding villagers. They did not expect that there would be a woman who was so stupid. Not only did she not make a fuss about her husband's affair with another woman, but she even protected him like this. There was no other woman like her in 10 miles and 8 villages. While they felt that Zhao Ping'er had other things to do, they also felt that Zhao Ping'er was somewhat sad and helpless. In this relationship, Zhao Ping'er thought too lowly of herself because of her appearance. Instead, she thought of Qin Yuan as her sky. At this time, Zhao Ping'er first took the responsibility on herself. She was considerate of Qin Yuan in all aspects, and then she pleaded for Qin Yuan's mercy. Aside from the fact that she was a weirdo, there weren't many women who were more sincere than Zhao Ping'er. If it weren't for Zhao Ping'er's ugly appearance, wouldn't it be a happy thing to be able to marry such a woman, who would protect and care for men? Qin Yuan's heart was not made of iron, although he had no feelings for Zhao Ping'er. Even when he married Zhao Ping'er, it was because Zhao Ping'er gave him a large dowry. In addition, their family was poor, so they really couldn't find any suitable girls. Under the arrangement of his parents, he finally agreed to marry Zhao Ping'er. Although he and Zhao Ping'er had done it as husband and wife, it was completely to satisfy his physiological needs. In his heart he had never loved Zhao Ping'er. But today when he saw how Zhao Ping'er treated him, Qin Yuan suddenly felt a lump in his throat. Everyone reprimanded him, rolled their eyes at him, and even the woman he loved could push him away for his sake. However, only Zhao Ping'er pleaded for him in front of the county magistrate. He suddenly realized that in this world, except for his parents, only Zhao Ping'er treated him the best. Only Zhao Ping'er truly loved him. Compared to Zhao Xinhui's words that made his heart cold, Qin Yuan suddenly felt that Zhao Ping'er was much better than Zhao Xinhui. Qin Yuan's eyes were red, and at the same time he swore in his heart that if he could survive today and save his life, he would definitely treat Zhao Ping'er well in the future. He might not fall in love with her, but he would definitely treat this woman well. Because only in this way could he live up to his conscience and be worthy of Zhao Ping'er's sacrifice for him. Ma Xiaofeng looked at them and secretly shook her head. She almost directly scolded Zhao Ping'er for being a fool. Chapter 2282. In the end, she would only ruin herself more and more in this relationship. None of them were good. The more you give and the more you humble yourself, the more they don't care about you. I take you seriously. Only when I can't get you will I look at you and hold you in my hands. As the saying goes, what you can't get is the best. Just like the relationship between her and Zhao Tianan. Didn't Zhao Tianan fawn on her? Now he chose to be with Mu Hin. The county magistrate felt that this matter was really messy. Zhao Yun was a good girl. How did she get such a relative? It was such a mess today. If he didn't come to join in the fun, he wouldn't have thought that there were so many and so complicated things in the countryside. After all, it was a happy occasion for Zhao Yun'er's family. He didn't want to make trouble on such an occasion and cause some unhappiness. They should be happy now. Later they would continue to hold the wedding. Therefore the county magistrate didn't want to see blood for Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui. Instead he said, the men will be flogged 50 times and the women will be flogged 30 times as punishment. But if there is a next time, I won't let you off easily. You have to take this as a warning. Don't do anything immoral. Although the county magistrate's punishment was a little light, the villagers didn't dare to say anything. How could they, the common people, dare to say anything about the county magistrate's decision? If they made the county magistrate unhappy, they wouldn't have a good life either. Hua Chunhua breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time she was worried about Zhao Xinhui. She breathed a sigh of relief because Zhao Xinhui didn't have to be drowned in a pig cage and lose her life. But she was worried because Zhao Xinhui's physical condition was not good now. If she couldn't bear the 30 flogs, wouldn't her life be in danger? She only had one daughter and she would not allow anything to happen to her daughter. She glanced at Zhao Xinhui worriedly. She sat on the ground and patted her thigh. She couldn't help but cry and complain. Oh my Hui, if anything happens to you, mother won't be able to live anymore. Zhao Wentao looked at them from the side and frowned. Then he pulled Hua Chunhua who was on the ground and comforted Hua Chunhua. Mother, don't cry. What if you make the county magistrate unhappy and punish our little sister more severely? 30 paddles were not considered a heavy punishment. The deputy district magistrate had already shown mercy and let his little sister off lightly. Why are you crying? Didn't you say that the county magistrate punished you severely? How can the county magistrate be happy? Hearing Zhao Wentao's words, Hua Chunhua was frightened. However, she knew that Zhao Wentao's words made sense. She quickly wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and stopped crying. She was afraid that she would make the deputy unhappy and implicate Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Ping also looked at Qin Yuan worriedly. Brother Yuan's body had always been thin and not very good. She didn't know if he could withstand the 50 paddles. But she didn't have any way to make Lord Li Zheng's punishment be lighter. She could only pray that Qin Yuan could withstand it this time. As long as he could stay alive, the injuries on his body could slowly heal in the future. Now they were not like the past where they didn't have money to treat their injuries. Now that they had money, they could buy those precious herbs and tonics to nourish their bodies. The county magistrate didn't delay. He sent people to punish Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui on the spot. Chapter 2283. However, the villagers did not sympathize with Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui. Instead, they treated this as a show to watch. It was just that the punishment was too light and they did not find it exciting. In their opinion, Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui should be sent to the pig cage for committing incest. After dozens of floggings, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan did not end up well. Both of their buttocks were bleeding from the flogging, especially Qin Yuan. He was fair and tender to begin with. Now that he had suffered 50 floggings, his buttocks were already badly mutilated. As for Zhao Xinhui, he fainted from the pain after the 20th flogging because he was not feeling well earlier. However, the remaining 10 floggings did not fall. After the punishment was carried out, Hua Chunhua rushed forward and hugged Zhao Xinhui. She cried and shouted, Hui, what's wrong with you? Don't scare your mother. Wake up, hurry and wake up. However, Zhao Xinhui did not react in her arms. Hui, if anything happens to you, your mother doesn't want to live anymore. Hurry and wake up, you're my only daughter. No matter what, you can't leave your mother alone. Hua Chunhua cried as if she was at a funeral. She hugged Zhao Xinhui and cried bitterly. The people around them could not help but shake their heads when they saw Hua Chunhua crying like this. Although it was tragic, they did not sympathize. After all, Zhao Xinhui deserved it. If he had not done such a thing in the first place, he would not have ended up like this. As for Hua Chunhua, it was because she did not educate her son and daughter well that they suffered so much. If only Hua Chunhua had taught them better, they would not have ended up like this. Meanwhile, Zhao Baoshan stood in the crowd and listened to the chatter around him. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. He had lost all his face. How could he continue to live in the village after causing such a big mess? Unfortunately, that old woman of his was a troublemaker. She didn't stop now and continued to cause trouble. She wasn't afraid that people would laugh at her. Zhao Baoshan walked towards Hua Chunhua with a sullen face and scolded Hua Chunhua in a low voice. You still have the face to shout? Why don't you shut up and wait for the people around you to laugh at you? Hua Chunhua raised her head and replied unhappily, "Old man, do you still have a conscience? Our daughter is already like this. It's fine if you don't cry, but you still came over to talk about me. Face, all you know is face. Is your daughter's life not as important as your face? If something happens to Hui, won't you feel sad at all?" Zhao Baoshan was also a little unhappy. He snorted softly and said, "She's suffering the consequences of her own actions. Today it's all because you, as her mother, have spoiled her. I already said that Qin Yuan's brat was no good. You had to matchmake them. Wasn't it just because you were interested in his money? Isn't it great now? You caused such a mess. Not only is there no hope, but you also caused our daughter to become like this. Old woman, when will you reflect on yourself? Don't just focus on shouting. Will that solve the problem?" Hua Chunhua met Zhao Baoshan's gloomy face. She was just short of fighting with Zhao Baoshan. Usually, because Zhao Baoshan was the man in charge of the family, she could give in to him. But now, because of Zhao Xinhui, he was about to go crazy. How could he care so much? No one could say a word now. If anyone did, she would fight them to the death. Chapter 2284. Glancing at the dying Zhao Xinhui, Hua Chunhua felt that what Zhao Wentao said made sense. The most important thing now was to take care of Zhao Xinhui's injuries. Hua Chunhua swallowed the anger in her heart. Hua Chunhua commanded Zhao Wentao, "Old Five, quickly carry your little sister." "Yes, mother." Zhao Wentao responded. Then with Hua Chunhua's help, he carried Zhao Xinhui on his back. "Mother, Dr. Sun seems to have come to the wedding banquet today. Why don't we carry her to the front room first and let Dr. Sun take a look at little sister?" Zhao Wentao suggested. Hua Chunhua wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and nodded, "Okay, then let's carry her to the front room first and let Dr. Sun take a look at your little sister." Yes. Zhao Wentao nodded heavily and responded. After Zhao Xinhui was carried to the front yard, Zhao Ping also rushed to Qin Yuan in a panic and asked Qin Yuan, "Big brother Yuan, are you okay?" Qin Yuan was dying. He raised his head and looked at Zhao Ping with a bitter smile. He shook his head and said to Zhao Ping, "I'm fine. I'm still alive." Zhao Ping was scared to tears by Qin Yuan. When she saw the blood oozing out of Qin Yuan's butt, she knew that it was very serious. However, Qin Yuan said that he was fine. Wasn't this obviously nonsense? She wasn't a fool. How could she not see it? Zhao Ping cried and said, "Big brother Yuan, you must hold on. Don't leave me alone." Seeing Zhao Ping crying, the bitterness in Qin Yuan's mouth deepened. He reckoned that Zhao Ping was the only one who would cry for him when he was so badly injured. "I'm really fine. I feel like I won't die. Don't worry too much about me. Also, Ping, thank you so much for today. Thank you for standing by my side and protecting me for no reason. Otherwise, I might really be drowned in a pig cage today and lose my life." Qin Yuan's words were a little emotional, but his eyes also turned red. Zhao Ping held Qin Yuan's hand and complained tearfully, "Big brother Yuan, what are you saying? You are my husband, my man. No matter how many mistakes you have made, you are still my husband. No matter what, I will stand by your side. I don't want to see anything happen to you. I don't want to see anything hurt. If it's possible, I really hope that I'll be the one to take the 50 paddles for you today." After hearing Zhao Ping's words, Qin Yuan felt something in the depths of his heart being stirred. "Zhao Ping, a man like me who was so poor in the past and treated you so badly. Why are you still so foolish and sacrifice so much for me?" Qin Yuan felt that he was really unworthy of Zhao Ping's sacrifice. In the past, he still felt that it was natural. Today, he finally saw clearly that there was nothing natural in this world. Other than one's parents, no one should sacrifice for you. It was also an extremely difficult thing to find someone who truly cared for you. However, he actually met a woman like Zhao Ping who sacrificed for him without hesitation. Zhao Ping saw that Qin Yuan's voice had become weak, and his face was pale. She hurriedly comforted Qin Yuan and said, "Big brother Yuan, don't talk anymore. Otherwise your body won't be able to take it. As for why I sacrifice for you, that's my business. I'm happy to do so." Chapter 2285. Qin Yuan was extremely touched by Zhao Ping's words, and Zhao Ping's words made him feel even more guilty for his previous actions. From now on, Zhao Ping was his wife. She treated him like this and protected him, so he must also treat her well. "You silly woman," Qin Yuan said with a choked voice. "Big brother Yuan, I'm not silly. Although I'm a little ugly, my mind is very clear. I know what I'm doing and what I want. For you, everything is worth it. As long as Big Brother Yuan is fine. And? Qin Yuan responded weakly. On the other hand, Zhao Ping'er pulled Qin Yuan and said, Big Brother Yuan, I'll get my father and the others to carry you back, and then I'll get Dr. Sun to take a look at your injuries. Your injuries are too severe, so you must hold on. Qin Yuan nodded heavily and responded. No matter what, he must live well. As long as he didn't lose his life this time, he would live a good life with Zhao Ping'er in the future. Zhao Ping'er called a few of old Zhao's uncles over and first carried Qin Yuan into Zhao Yun'er's house. Although old Zhao's family didn't like Qin Yuan was Zhao Ping'er's man after all. His life was at stake, so they still had to take it seriously. Dr. Sun first looked at Zhao Xinhui's injuries. Because Zhao Xinhui's physique was poor, and her body hadn't recovered from the previous injuries, she suffered another 30 strikes this time. She almost couldn't hold on. But fortunately, she managed to keep her life. In the future, she probably wouldn't be able to lie in bed to recuperate for more than half a year. When Huo Chunhua heard that her injuries were so serious, she almost fainted from fright. In the end, she couldn't help but wail loudly. Her heart ached for Zhao Xinhui. She kept muttering about how her daughter had such a hard life, committing so many crimes in a row. Today's incident had come to Qin Yuan. If it hadn't been for the collusion of Qin Yuan, her daughter wouldn't have been punished like this. Old Zhao's family understood the situation and saw through it clearly. This matter was not entirely the fault of Qin Yuan. Huo Chunhua clearly knew about the relationship between Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui, but she still allowed them to interact with each other. Who could be blamed for this? Now that something had happened, Huo Chunhua also had to bear some responsibility. She couldn't put all the blame on others. After Dr. Sun finished treating Zhao Xinhui's injuries, he went to check on Qin Yuan. Compared to Zhao Xinhui, Qin Yuan's situation was slightly better. However, the situation was also not good, and he had to rest in bed for a while. After the incident, things gradually calmed down. The villagers gossiped together for a while, and then their attention was focused on today's wedding. Zhao Yun'er had been busy in the kitchen. Even if Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui were caught having an affair on the spot, Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to take a look. Zhao Yun'er had already expected that the filthy matter of these two weirdos being together would be exposed. It was in front of Zhao Qian'an's wedding that these things happened, which made Zhao Yun'er feel very uncomfortable. It was originally a very good wedding, but it was ruined by these two people's affairs. She couldn't help but feel a little upset. The most important thing was that the county magistrate gave her face and came to her house to attend the banquet. Originally he wanted to watch the fun, but in the end he found that he was watching a joke. Zhao Yun'er didn't know how she should face the county magistrate later. After all, she had caused him trouble, so she felt guilty. Chapter 2286. The villagers who were originally in Zhao Yun'er's courtyard to join in the fun all squeezed into Mulan's courtyard. Zhao Tianan jumped down from the horse's back. His red wedding dress was extraordinary and carried a sense of grandeur. Many of the young girls present were fascinated by Zhao Tianan, and feelings of admiration for Zhao Tianan grew in their hearts. The matchmaker in front of the wedding procession raised her voice and shouted, indicating that the groom was coming to pick up the bride. At this time, Mu Hin, who had been sitting in the house for a long time, was a little excited as she tugged at the corner of her clothes. Her heart could not calm down. When she thought of her husband coming to pick her up after marrying Zhao Tianan, her heart could not help but become restless. She was even looking forward to it. She could not wait to rush out of the house and see Zhao Tianan's outfit today. Mulan also returned to the house. She walked to Mu Hin and helped Mu Hin up. She said to Mu Hin with some reluctance, "Xin, the wedding procession is here. You should go." "Sister." Mu Hin held Mulan's hand tightly and was very reluctant to part with her. After marriage, she would be a member of the Zhao family. Even if they were still together, their status would be different. Mulan knew what Mu Hin meant. She patted Mu Hin's hand and said, "Let's go. Don't let the groom wait too long. You didn't see how handsome the bridegroom is today. Everyone outside is praising him for his good looks. They are saying that you are lucky to be able to marry such a man." After hearing Mulan's words, Mu Hin's heart was even more expectant. Her Tianan, what did her bridegroom look like today? "Let's go." Mulan urged again. Even if she was reluctant, she still had to go out. As soon as the bride walked out, her slim figure and beautiful wedding dress instantly attracted everyone's attention. Now that the bride and groom stood together, they felt that they were a perfect match. XNXN. Zhao Tianan called out excitedly. Mu Hin also responded shyly. Get on the palanquin. With the help of the matchmaker, Mu Hin was brought into the bridal sedan. The welcoming team continued their journey and circled around the village before finally returning to Zhao Yun'er's house. Zhao Yun'er took a breath and came out of the kitchen to join in the fun. For her, it was very rare for her to see a happy occasion for her family. She should watch and remember this scene. She should remember all the happy moments in her heart. According to the procedure, Mu Hin was the last to be sent into the house. Zhao Yun'er went back to the kitchen and continued to work. Seeing such a lively scene, the deputy district magistrate finally got rid of his unhappy mood. Daddy, it's so lively. Lan Xian said sweetly with a smile on his face. The county deputy's serious face showed a touch of warmth. He smiled and touched Lan Xian's head, replying, It's indeed lively. Xian, do you like to watch lively scenes? Remember. Then in the future, Daddy will bring Xian to watch such a lively scene together. Okay. Lan Xian nodded excitedly in response. After a while, the preparations for the banquet in Zhao Yun'er's house were in full swing. The people who came to attend the banquet found their seats and sat down, waiting for the banquet to start. Liang Jinxiao's relatives also came. The Liang family was reluctant to let go of such a lively scene. The whole family could eat and drink together. However, on such a big day for Zhao Tianan, Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to care so much. Chapter 2287. The banquet lasted for a few hours before it was finally over. Zhao Yun'er ate a few mouthfuls of food to fill her stomach. After she was done with her work, her body couldn't take it anymore. She went straight back to the house and lay on the bed to rest. She was mainly responsible for cooking. She didn't need to do anything else. Others could do it for her. If there was a good chef, Zhao Yun'er wouldn't have to be so tired. She didn't have to organize every banquet herself. But there probably wouldn't be any big happy occasion later. Even if there was, she would just call a chef back. Mu Lianfeng was eating at the banquet. When he saw Zhao Yun'er dragging her tired body back to the house, he followed her. Aren't you going to eat? Zhao Yun'er asked when she saw the door open and Mu Lianfeng walk in. I'm almost done eating, so I came to see you. You must be tired today, right? Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yun'er with eyes full of heartache. Zhao Yun'er smiled. She was afraid that Mu Lianfeng would be worried, so she said, I'm okay. I'm a little tired, but I can handle it. Mu Lianfeng couldn't help but shake his head. He felt sorry for her and nagged, sometimes you just love to toss around too much. You could have invited a chef over today. Then you wouldn't have to be so tired. Zhao Yun'er pursed her lips. Tianan's marriage is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I have to take it seriously. I'll only feel better after tiring myself out for a day and making the banquet presentable. Mu Lianfeng leaned in front of Zhao Yun'er dotingly. He put his hands on Zhao Yun'er's shoulders and said, Let me give you a massage. It'll make you feel better. Zhao Yun'er didn't refuse. She let Mu Lianfeng massage her. Mu Lianfeng's massage soothed the soreness in her shoulders. Sometimes you just don't know how to take care of yourself. How can I leave you here alone after I leave? Mu Lianfeng sighed helplessly. He was a little worried about the situation after he left. Don't worry, I'm not a child anymore. I can still take care of myself. I'll come back as soon as possible. I hope I can stay by your side and take care of you. Alright, then come back as soon as you're done. Our family will be together forever. Alright. Zhao Yun'er lay on the bed for a long time and was too lazy to get up. As for the banquet, she didn't have to clean it up because there were other people helping her. When the deputy magistrate was about to leave, Zhao Yun'er came out to see him off. Big sister Yun'er, your house is so fun. It's much livelier than mine. If only I could stay at your house and play. Lan Xian was reluctant to leave. But his parents were leaving, so he could only obediently follow them back. If you have time, you can come over and play. Zhao Yun'er smiled. Lan Xian lowered his head. Father is so busy every day. I don't think he can accompany me to play often. Seeing Lan Xian's disappointed look, Zhao Yun'er felt a little distressed. Then she said to the deputy magistrate and his wife, If sir and madam don't have time to come to my house, you can send Xian over to stay for a few days. Although my house isn't as luxurious as the deputy magistrate's mansion, the basic conditions are not bad. I'll definitely take good care of Xian. When Lan Xian heard Zhao Yun'er's words, he looked at his parents with anticipation. Chapter 2288. Zhao Yuner smiled politely and said, "It's no trouble at all. I've taught many children. Now that Xian'er is here, I can let them play together and take care of him together." The county deputy's wife smiled and nodded. If it was someone else, she would probably be worried. However, after interacting with Zhao Yuner, the county deputy's wife knew that Zhao Yuner was reliable. If she left Xian'er with Zhao Yuner, the county deputy's wife believed that Zhao Yuner could take good care of him. However, her son had never left her side. If he left for a few days, she didn't know if she would be reluctant to part with him. However, when she saw Xian'er's expectant face and how happy he was when he was watching the fun at Zhao Yuner's house, she felt that as long as Xian'er was happy, it was the most important thing. After sending off the county deputy's family, the other guests also went back one after another. In the end, only Zhao Yuner's relatives were left. Her uncles and aunts were obviously reluctant to go back, and her second aunt's family was even more so. However, Zhao Yuner was too lazy to chase them away. She simply went back to her room and ignored them. If they wanted to sit and watch the fun, then let them be. Anyway, she wouldn't let them stay overnight. Father, mother, big brother Yuan's injuries are truly too severe. He needs to recuperate properly for a period of time. I also have no way of bringing him back to the Qin family. Why don't we let big brother Yuan recuperate here for a period of time? Our house is just right that we don't mind moving to another room. Also, this house is well ventilated and bright. It's definitely better for him to stay in this house than the family Qin's low and shabby thatched hut. Zhao Ping'er went to Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao and discussed with them. Qin Yuan's body really couldn't be tormented anymore after he was hit 50 times with the paddle. The Shuilan village was quite a distance from the Zhao family. If they carried Qin Yuan on the carriage and went back on the bumpy journey, Qin Yuan's injuries would probably worsen. If something bad happened to Qin Yuan, it might endanger his life. Therefore, Zhao Ping'er had no choice but to take the risk seriously. However, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were put in a difficult position. They couldn't make the decision in this family. Everything depended on Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner and Zhao Ping'er were not on good terms, so how could she possibly agree to let Qin Yuan stay in the third branch to recuperate? In addition, the incident between Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui was really embarrassing. If the Qin Yuan stayed, the third branch would probably be laughed at. Therefore, while Zhao Yuner might not agree, they were also a little unhappy. The uncles and aunts at the side chuckled and mocked Zhao Ping'er. Wu Zhenju covered his mouth and laughed sarcastically. "I say, Ping'er girl, you're really big-hearted. You've done such a shameful thing, seducing another man. Shouldn't you be happy now that you've been punished? Why do you still treasure him so much? Normal people aren't like you. It's not that second aunt wants to scold you, but sometimes you have to be more careful. Don't just focus on men. The more you stick to them, the more they think you're worthless and won't bother with you." Eldest Aunt Guocaixia was more reserved, but she also had the intention of mocking Zhao Ping'er. "That's right, Ping'er girl, sometimes you can't spoil your men like this. It will only make them more indulgent and do things that will let you down." Chapter 2289. Second Aunt Liang Jinfen could not bear to see Zhao Yuner's family doing well. Once she saw that there was something to talk about, she quickly joined in. Liang Jinfen said sarcastically, "That's right, Ping'er lass. Say you treasure your man too much. Who is like you, treating him like a treasure? You even did this kind of thing. If my Zhaoti's man was like this, I would have let her divorce him long ago. It's fine if you didn't divorce him, but you still treasure your man so much and think of him in everything. Is there a need for this?" Faced with these relatives' sarcastic remarks, Zhao Ping'er's face flushed red with anger. Although what they said was the truth, it was not up to them to make up stories. Furthermore, each and every one of them clearly had the attitude of watching a good show and could not bear to see others doing well. How she treated her lover was her own business. Even if everyone mocked her and opposed her, she would still do it as usual. Who asked her to have Qin Yuan in her heart? However, Zhao Ping'er knew that these people had nothing better to do. Once they met someone who was in trouble, they would work hard to make up stories. In order to shut these people's mouths, Zhao Ping'er said coldly, "I spoil my man because he has the capital to be spoiled. If I follow him, I can live a good life. The restaurants in this town can earn tens to hundreds of taels of silver every month. This money is something that you paupers can't earn in your lifetime. It's normal for rich men to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Why can't I forgive him this once? Also, second aunt, don't compare your Zhaoti's man to my man. He married her to give birth to a son. He's different from my man. You can only say a few words about me, but I'm getting richer by following Big Brother Yuan. My future is also something that you poor people can't match. After Zhao Ping'er finished venting her anger, the faces of the Liang family's people were already pitch black, especially Liang Jinfen. Originally they just wanted to mock Zhao Ping'er, but now they were made fun of by Zhao Ping'er. Seeing how arrogant Zhao Ping'er was, they were furious. However, what Zhao Ping'er said was the truth. Because Qin Yuan had opened a restaurant now, it was completely different from the poor boy of the past. According to what Zhao Ping'er said, the restaurant could earn up to 100 taels of silver every month. Indeed, it was impossible to find such a rich person in the surrounding villages. Relying on the business of the restaurant to slowly accumulate, the family would one day become a wealthy family. Country bumpkins like them would never be able to compare. Seeing that the people from the Liang family were stunned and had nothing to say, Zhao Ping'er begged Zhao Yunlong and Liang Jinxiao. Father, mother, just let Big Brother Yuan stay here for a period of time? How about this, Big Brother Yuan, and I won't freeload? Can we pay you money? As long as Big Brother Yuan can still move, I won't have to make him stay. If there are bumps on the road, Big Brother Yuan's injuries will be more serious. If anything happens, I won't be able to bear the consequences. If something happens to Big Brother Yuan, I won't be able to live in the future. If I can't stay in my in-laws' house, I'll definitely have to return to my parents' house. At that time, I can't avoid causing trouble for father and mother. Father and mother, why don't you let Big Brother Yuan stay here now? I guarantee that he'll be fine and I won't be a problem in the future. Zhao Ping'er faced Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua, and her eyes revealed a hint of sincerity. Chapter 2290. Although they also didn't want Qin Yuan to stay in the third branch, Zhao Ping'er's words weren't without reason. Qin Yuan had been hit 50 times today. If his body wasn't strong enough, he probably wouldn't have been able to survive. But even if he managed to survive, Qin Yuan was still in a half-dead state. At this moment he was lying on the bed and couldn't get up. If he was sent to the carriage, it would be hard to avoid pulling on his wounds. After some jolting there would be another major problem. Liang Jinxiao wanted to cut ties with Zhao Ping'er and never come back, but now he was facing Qin Yuan's life. No matter how cruel she was, she couldn't let her son-in-law lose his life and let Zhao Ping'er become a living widow at such a young age. It wasn't impossible to let Qin Yuan stay in the third branch for a while until Qin Yuan's injuries were slightly better. Father, mother, just agree to my request this time. I promise it'll be just this once. I won't give you any trouble in the future. Zhao Wenhua said, Ping'er, don't beg us for now. Discuss this matter with Yun. If she agrees, your mother and I won't have any objections. Zhao Ping'er hurriedly said, Father, mother, then help me persuade younger sister Yun. She'll listen to you. Zhao Wenhua couldn't bear it and could only nod in agreement. All right then, father will give it a try. If Yun really doesn't agree, father can't do anything about it. Zhao Ping'er nodded heavily. Zhao Wenhua found Zhao Yun'er and discussed it with Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er was unwilling, but after seeing Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao's attitudes, if she refused, her parents would probably think that she was heartless. This was a matter of life and death, so she had to pay attention to it. She could haggle over gains and losses in daily life, but when it came to matters that she shouldn't haggle over, she couldn't hold on to it and scheme. Thus, Zhao Yun'er complied with Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao's wishes and let Qin Yuan stay for the time being. However, once Qin Yuan's injuries recovered, he would have to leave the third branch. During this period, Zhao Ping'er had to pay 10 taels of silver as food and lodging fees as she promised. Zhao Yun'er didn't care about that little amount of money. She only wanted to let others know that they couldn't take advantage of her. If he really had to take it, he would have to pay the same price. Otherwise, one after another, to take advantage of her. It just so happened that the Liang family was also there. Zhao Yun'er did this to tell the Liang family not to calculate so much. Even though she and Zhao Ping'er were sisters, they could still carefully calculate their debts. Their relatives who were separated by a layer were even more so. Zhao Ping'er paid the 10 taels of silver very straightforwardly. As long as her big brother Yuan was fine, she was willing to pay 100 taels of silver. Who asked Big Brother Yuan to be her only support now? They still had this restaurant. As long as Qin Yuan was around, the restaurant could continue to operate and wouldn't be short of money. However, without Qin Yuan, let's not talk about whether she, as a woman, could manage a restaurant. Even if she could continue to operate and earn a lot of money, what was the point of her carrying so much money? If she were to find another man, it would probably be hard for her to fancy him. Previously, Zhao Ping'er and Zhao Yun'er faced each other coldly. This time she put down her pride and said gratefully to Zhao Yun, younger sister Yun, thank you. Chapter 2291. Zhao Yun glanced at Zhao Ping to confirm whether there was something wrong with Zhao Ping. Zhao Ping's expression remained the same. Not only was she not angered by Zhao Ping's stare, but she even smiled slightly. Zhao Yun was a little flustered inside. She thought that Zhao Ping's head must have been damaged. She had been so agitated by today's events that she had developed a mental problem. After discussing this matter, Zhao Ping hurriedly returned to Qin Yuan's room to continue taking care of Qin Yuan. Zhao Yun did not think too much about it. At this moment, the Liang family was still sitting in Zhao Yun's living room, whispering something to each other. They were just grumbling about Zhao Ping's actions. Compared to the brainless Zhao Ping, Zhao Yun hated people like the Liang family who sowed discord behind their backs even more. Yet they were all thick-skinned. They had clearly finished the banquet, but they still had no intention of leaving. Liang Xinhua did not stop after arriving at Zhao Yun's home. Her gaze never left Mu Lianfeng. However, from Liang Xinhua's reaction, she seemed to be looking forward to seeing Mo Yan. Moreover, Liang Xinhua had specially dressed up for the banquet at Zhao Yun's home. She wore a set of new clothes. The fabric was bright and the style was not bad. She looked quite delicate when dressed up carefully. However, it was a little too pretentious. People could not help but feel disgust. Why were there girls who did not know how to be reserved? Liang Jinshun and Liang Jinhui said, "Brother-in-law, now that the autumn harvest is over, the weather has become much cooler. Are you still going to build the pigsty that your family mentioned before?" Zhao Wenhua looked at Zhao Yun, seeking Zhao Yun's opinion. After all of this was planned by Zhao Yun. Only Zhao Yun could agree. If Liang Jinshun and Liang Jinhui didn't mention it, Zhao Yun was prepared to let Zhao Wenhua take the initiative to say it. Since the two of them mentioned it, Zhao Yun said, "First uncle, second uncle, if you have time, you can help me build it." "Of course we have time. Aren't we already done with the farm work? There isn't much work to do in the fields. You can work as a bricklayer's assistant." Liang Jinshun replied with a chuckle. Building a pigsty for Zhao Yun's family would not only allow him to earn money every day, but he could also build a house for Zhao Yun's family. Every meal would be delicious. Thinking about Zhao Yun's culinary skills, Liang Jinshun and Liang Jinhui were dying of hunger. Liang Jinhui also followed behind Liang Jinshun and said, "That's right, Yuner girl. Other than us who have finished with the farm work, basically every family in the countryside has finished with their work. It's easier to find those bricklayers now. Moreover, the weather is much cooler, so the work won't be so hot. The wages can also be lowered. If your family's pigsty is big, I'm afraid it will take a lot of time. Don't wait until winter. It's inconvenient to do anything in the weather. Looking at the weather now, it's the most comfortable time to work. Hurry up and prepare to build the pigsty, right?" Zhao Yun heard these two people's words and felt that it made sense. It just so happened that there wasn't anything important to be busy with during this period of time. The matter of the pigsty couldn't be delayed. The earlier she saw it, the better. She could also arrange for her aunt's family to come over and help. Seeing that her aunt's family was having a hard time, she naturally wanted to help where she could. Chapter 2292. Liang Jinshun and Liang Jinhui both smiled and responded. They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait to go to Zhao Yun's house to work earlier so that they could eat the food cooked by Zhao Yun. They weren't that picky about their food, but ever since they stayed at Zhao Yun's house for a while, they had been eating Zhao Yun's cooking every day. When they returned home to eat the food cooked by their wives, they couldn't swallow it. They felt that it was tasteless and their mouths had been raised to be picky. But because they couldn't eat, they were too picky. Later on they lost a lot of weight. If they didn't come to Zhao Yun's house to eat good food and nourish themselves, they didn't know when they could grow back the weight they lost. In the kitchen, Qian Zhonghu and the people hired by Zhao Yun had already helped to clean up the bowls and chopsticks. They were cleaning up in the courtyard. The Liang family was still the same as before. They only knew how to sit and eat. They didn't have any intention of helping Zhao Yun's house. Old Madame Liang couldn't stand it anymore. She pointed at her two daughters-in-law and two granddaughters and said, "Don't just sit there. Go and help out. There are still a lot of bowls and chopsticks that haven't been washed. If you help wash them, it'll be done sooner." After old Madame Liang finished speaking, her two daughters-in-law and two granddaughters were a little unhappy. Wu Zhenju immediately replied, "Mother, we're here to eat, not to help out. Speaking of which, we're guests. Who would let their guests do the work? Guo pursed her lips and said, Mother, aren't there people busy in the courtyard? Why would they need us? Old Madame Liang snorted softly. You're just lazy. You actually came up with so many excuses. Everyone was here for a banquet, so why couldn't they help out a little? Isn't your eldest sister's sister-in-law a guest too? How would she know not to be calculative and say that she's a guest? Old Madame Liang's bossy attitude made her two daughters-in-law a little unhappy. What other people wanted to do was their business. What did it have to do with them? What a daughter-in-law was most afraid of was her mother-in-law's nagging. It was one thing for her to control them at home, but when she went out, she actually didn't give them any face and made them feel awkward. Mother, you make it sound like we did something wrong. Why don't you say second sister and little sister? As aunts, we are the most important guests. It's not up to us to help. Wu Zhenju rebutted old Madame Liang without giving her any face. Old Madame Liang trembled with anger. This second daughter-in-law was becoming more and more outrageous. She didn't even have a good attitude when speaking to her. She even treated her as her mother-in-law. Liang Jinfen was afraid that old Madame Liang would order her around, so she hurriedly said, Mother, it's not that I don't want to help. A few days ago when I was harvesting rice, I accidentally cut my hand. The wound hasn't healed yet, so I can't touch water. Wu Zhenju rolled his eyes at Liang Jinfen. Second younger sister, you really have a good reason. You can't do a big girl like your Lai Di, so why can't you do it? Why don't you order her around? Liang Jinfen retorted unhappily, My Lai Di hasn't done much manual labor since she was born. Her skin is soft and tender. If you let her do manual labor, what if her hands become rough and calluses form? What if they become ugly? She's a girl, so her hands are very important. Chapter 2293. Our family's is also delicate. The main thing is that we, as her uncle and aunt, are more important guests than you as her aunt. Naturally, you should be the one helping eldest sister with the chores. Anyway, it's not suitable for our family to do it. Wu Zhenju continued to argue with Liang Jinfen. Neither of them was willing to fall behind, afraid that they would be at a disadvantage. Second sister-in-law, aren't you going too far with your words? We're all guests, so what's the difference in status? Since you don't want to go, don't push the blame to me. You're obviously making us suffer. Why don't you think of our family when you're benefiting? Liang Jinfen said in a bad mood. Old Madame Liang couldn't help but feel a chill in her heart when she saw her daughter-in-law and daughter quarreling because they were lazy. Neither side was good. What were they talking about? Seeing that the two of them were going to continue quarreling, old Madame Liang angrily stopped them. All right. Stop quarreling. It's so annoying. None of you are easy to worry about. I asked you to do some chores, but you're all here to eat at eldest sister's house. Each one of you is more diligent than the other. Old Madame Liang's expression was a little ugly, and her tone was very sharp. Normally, a gentle old lady would rarely show such a face. This time she was so angry that she couldn't help but lose her temper. Wu Zhenju pursed his lips and wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Liang Jinhui's gaze. No matter what, old Madame Liang was his mother-in-law and an elder. He couldn't be too presumptuous with her. Although Wu Zhenju was a little unhappy, he listened to Liang Jinhui. Liang Jinfen felt uncomfortable and directly replied to old Madame Liang. Mother, you're saying it as if we're here to scrounge for money? Now that eldest sister's family is doing so well, what's wrong with us coming over to eat? Would eldest sister care about such a small amount of money? Old Madame Liang glared at Liang Jinfen and replied coldly, Haha, aren't you here to scrounge for money? It's your big sister's business that she's rich. Unless she takes the initiative to call you over, you're always leading a big family like this. Every time you've been eating and taking money. If this isn't cheating, then what is? Liang Jinfen's face immediately turned red. She did have some thoughts of taking advantage of him, but she couldn't let old Madame Liang say it in front of everyone, right? She had lost too much face. Mother, why do you only know how to worry about such trivial things? Big sis didn't say anything, but you came here to say something. If you say something unpleasant, then you're just being nosy. Liang Jinfen said with a red face. Old Madame Liang was impressed by Liang Jinfen's shamelessness and lack of tact. Since Liang Jinfen was so shameless, there was no need for him to hold back. He could just say whatever he wanted. Your big sister is just too embarrassed to scold you. You have to be self-conscious. All of you are the same. Don't just think about taking advantage of others. Although the eldest daughter's family was rich, this was money that they had earned with their own abilities. Others could forget about trying to take advantage of the situation and reap benefits from it. Even blood-related brothers should settle accounts clearly. How can you always freeload like this? After a few more times you'll be hated by others. Old Madame Liang's words were undoubtedly slapping the Liang family and Liang Jinfen in the face. It made everyone feel uncomfortable. Chapter 2294. Don't speak up for them in case they don't realize it next time. Old Madame Liang said to Liang Jinxiao earnestly. Liang Jinxiao looked at her and didn't say anything. Actually, she was lying when she said she didn't care. Sometimes the Liang family took advantage of others too much. But she couldn't say it out loud. If she did, she would be called stingy. She didn't care about the food, but she didn't feel good about being taken advantage of. Now that old Madame Liang said it, it made these people more self-aware. Otherwise, if they continued to do this, it would only become more and more annoying. Old Madame Liang said, "If you really have self-awareness, you should leave now. Why are you still dawdling in the eldest girl's house? Do you want to freeload some food back, or do you want her to send you back with a donkey cart?" Old Madame Liang's words stabbed the Liang family and Liang Jinfen's thoughts. They did plan to pack some meat dishes for the banquet and then use the excuse that it was too late to send them back with Zhao Yiner's family car. After all, it was very tiring to walk a dozen li. It wasn't easy to make the trip here. How could they walk when they were full? But now that old Madame Liang said it like this, even if they had this idea, they couldn't say it out loud. Otherwise, wouldn't they be admitting that old Madame Liang's words were true? That they were here to take advantage of others? Mother, what are you saying? Aren't we just resting a bit more? Can't we leave now? It's not like we don't have food at home. Who cares about eldest sister's food? You make us sound like beggars. My family isn't that poor. Liang Jinfen got up angrily and pulled her husband and daughter, preparing to leave Zhao Yiner's house. No matter what, she still wanted to save face. She couldn't let old Madame Liang make her sound bad. Moreover, their Su family was considered a wealthy family in the village. They usually ate a lot of meat. It wasn't worthwhile for them to put down their status for some food. The most important thing was to lose face in front of her eldest sister's family. The only pride she had left was her in-laws' family. The Liang family was also trying to save face. Since old Madame Liang had already said so, they couldn't possibly continue to refuse. Only then did they stand up reluctantly, somewhat reluctantly. Just thinking about how there was still more than a dozen miles to go back made him panic. "Mother, don't we want to say a few more words and chat?" It wasn't easy for him to join in the fun, and he didn't know when he would be able to do so again. So what if he stayed a little longer and said a few more words? However, since Mother has helped eldest younger sister to drive people away, we should also tactfully leave, lest eldest younger sister's family disdain us. Wu Jinzhu said sarcastically, expressing her displeasure. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao both looked awkward, and their expressions were slightly stiff. But since things had already come to this, they couldn't possibly try to persuade him to stay. Not only did it seem insincere, but it also made people feel that they were too fake. Compared to the others, Liang Xinyue was the most reluctant to leave. She had come this time hoping to see Mo Yan the most. Strangely, she hadn't seen Mo Yan's figure today, so she felt extremely dejected. Now that she had to leave Zhao Yiner's house, it meant that she had no chance of seeing Mo Yan today. She was rather reluctant to leave. Chapter 2295. Wu Jinzhu hurriedly asked with concern, "Yue, what's wrong with you?" Liang Xinyue said with a bitter face, "Mother, I can't take it anymore. My feet hurt so much. I walked more than 10 li today and now it hurts so much. I have to walk more than 10 li back. How can I walk?" Wu Jinzhu frowned when he saw Liang Xinyue's appearance. His daughter was a delicate person, but walking more than 10 li was indeed a bit much. Not to mention that Liang Xinyue's feet hurt now, her feet also hurt badly. But what could she do? Her eldest sister's family had no intention of sending them back. Liang Xinyue squatted on the ground and continued to cry out in pain, "Mother, I can't take it anymore. I really can't walk." Wu Jinzhu sighed and said helplessly to Liang Jinxiao, "Eldest sister, your family's donkey cart and horse carriage are useless anyway. Why don't you send them back? It saves us the trouble of walking more than 10 li back. Your brother, sister-in-law and I are fine, but the children at home can't walk so much. No matter what, you're still an aunt. You can't just watch your nephews and nieces suffer, right?" Liang Jinxiao frowned. She would be too stingy if she didn't send them back, but she really didn't have the time to send them back. Although the banquet was over, there were still many things to deal with. She had to invite old Zhao's family to eat the banquet. How could she have so much time to deal with it? Moreover, Zhao Yun had to rest in the room because she was too busy at noon. If she had to send the Liang family back, it would take a lot of time to go back and forth. Zhao Yun's body wasn't that good. She definitely couldn't take it. During this period of time, Zhao Yun has been busy enough. She can't trouble him to worry about these small things. Even though Liang Jinxiao was not used to refusing, he still said honestly, "Second sister-in-law, I'm really sorry. If I could send you back, I would definitely let Yuner send you back. Yuner has been busy the whole day and is tired enough. Wanyan Yu still has to take care of things and she doesn't have the time or energy to do that. He must be allowed to breathe and rest. The rest of my family doesn't know how to drive donkey carts or ox carts, so we can't send you there. So, second sister-in-law, please forgive me. The next time I come over to play, I will definitely send you back when I have time." Liang Jinxiao's tone had already become very gentle. He explained the reason and did not directly refuse in a bad mood. Even though Wu Zhenju felt uncomfortable, it was not appropriate for him to continue criticizing and mocking him. Liang Jinhui hurriedly said, "Big sister, it's okay. Since your family can't spare the time, you don't have to send us. Your second sister-in-law is just saying it, don't take it to heart. Second brother knows that it's Qianan's wedding today. Your family has a lot of work to do, so it's normal that you don't have time today." Liang Jinxiao smiled and nodded at Liang Jinhui. Liang Jinhui called out to Wu Zhenju, "That's enough. Can't you see that big sister's family is busy? It's fine if you don't want to help, but why are you causing trouble for them?" It wasn't that Liang Jinhui was biased towards his younger sister, but he didn't want the relationship between the two families to be too strained. No matter what, he and his older brother would be coming to Zhao Yuner's house to build a pigsty. They could earn money from Zhao Yuner's family and eat Zhao Yuner's food. Sometimes, one had to consider the big picture and not haggle over small matters. Otherwise, one would only suffer losses. Chapter 2296. Liang Xinyue, who was still squatting on the ground, heaved a sigh of relief when she heard this. She wanted to stay at Zhao Yuner's house. If Zhao Yuner really used the donkey cart to send them back, then wouldn't she have no excuse to stay? That was just right. Liang Xinyue continued to pretend to be in pain and grumbled a little. She said to Liang Jinhui and Wu Zhenju, "Father, mother, I really can't walk. My feet hurt so much." Wu Zhenju frowned and asked Liang Jinhui, "Look, without a cart, how can Yuer go back if she can't walk? Why don't I carry her back?" Liang Jinhui thought about it and felt that this was the only way. What else could he do? Wu Zhenju's face darkened. He hurriedly said, "You're carrying her? She's such a big girl. Let's not talk about whether I can carry her. Even if I can't carry her. It won't be good. If those gossipy old women in the village see us, they'll start gossiping again. Yuer has reached the age of marriage and still needs to find a husband. We can't let gossip spread. Otherwise, it won't be good for Yuer." Liang Jinhui thought about it and felt that Wu Zhenju's words made sense. After all, Liang Xinyue was a big girl. Even if he was Liang Xinyue's father, he couldn't carry his daughter in public. What else can we do? Yuer can't walk and I can't carry her. Are you guys going to support her? Liang Jinhui asked Wu Zhenju. Liang Xinyue hurriedly said, "Father, who can support me? Even if they can't do this, right? It's more than 10 miles away. By the time they carry me back, it'll probably take until the sky turns dark." Liang Jinhui was a little helpless. "This won't work, that won't work, then what else can we do? We can't just fly back without doing anything, right? You don't have wings, you can't fly." Liang Xinyue finally revealed her purpose. "Father, mother, didn't Sister Zier stay overnight at eldest aunt's house after her leg was injured? How about this, I'll stay at eldest aunt's house tonight and go back tomorrow when my leg is better." After saying this, Liang Xinyue glanced at Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao to see if they would refuse or agree. When Liang Jinhui heard this, he was silent for a few seconds. His daughter's idea was indeed feasible. Wouldn't he be able to walk back by himself tomorrow after his foot recovered? Liang Jinhui then discussed with Liang Jinxiao, "Sister, why don't we let Yuer stay at your house for the night? Your house is big, so you should be able to give her a room to sleep in for the night. We really can't bring her back. Otherwise, she wouldn't have caused trouble for your family." Liang Jinxiao felt that this wasn't a big deal. At most, she would just stay for one night. It wouldn't cause too much trouble. Anyway, they had prepared a bed and a blanket at home. They ate a lot at night, so an extra set of chopsticks didn't matter. Liang Xinyue couldn't walk, so they couldn't force her to go back. That would be too unreasonable. Just as Liang Jinxiao was about to agree, Zhao Yuner overheard their conversation. She actually didn't like people she hated living with her, especially Liang Xinyue. This woman clearly had ulterior motives. It would be fine if she really couldn't walk barefoot, but she was afraid that she had said it on purpose to stay. When the Liang family was about to leave, her eyes revealed her reluctance to part with them. It was obvious that she didn't want to leave her house. That was why she came up with such a stupid idea to stay. Chapter 2297. How could she allow another woman to lay a finger on her man? How could she allow another woman to harbor any thoughts that she shouldn't have? Even if this person was her cousin, she wouldn't allow it. Now that she was with Mu Lianfeng, Zhao Yuner realized that she was very possessive of the man she liked. She didn't want him to be involved with any other woman. If she really allowed Liang Xinyue to stay, what if she turned out to be a troublemaker? Who knew how much trouble it would cause? Zhao Yuner raised her voice and said, "Cousin, you can't walk anymore?" When Liang Xinyue heard Zhao Yuner's voice, she looked towards Zhao Yuner. The two of them looked into each other's eyes. Liang Xinyue felt a little guilty, but in order to stay she still nodded and said, "That's right, cousin. We walked more than 10 miles today. Now my feet are completely sore and I can't walk anymore. So I can't go home. I want to stay the night at your house. You have a lot of rooms, I'm sure you can give me one. When my feet are better tomorrow, I'll go back by myself. Cousin, you can't be so petty that you won't let me stay the night, right?" Zhao Yuner sized up Liang Xinyue and the corners of her mouth turned up in a cold smile. She had already spoken so harshly. What else could she say? If she rejected her, wouldn't she be admitting that she was petty? However, Zhao Yuner wasn't a sensible person. She wouldn't really let Liang Xinyue stay just because of her pride. Instead, she replied to Liang Xinyue mockingly, "Cousin, it's only been more than 10 miles and your feet are already sore. You're really delicate. It's fine if you're a rich young lady, but we country girls run here and there every day. You shouldn't be like this." Zhao Yuner was implying that Liang Xinyue was lying. Liang Xinyue's ears instantly turned red. Then she hurriedly said, "Cousin, what do you mean by that? Are you saying that I'm lying?" Zhao Yuner's lips turned up. "I didn't say that. It's what you think. Could it be that you're really lying? Your feet don't hurt?" Liang Xinyue then realized that she had been tricked by Zhao Yuner. She looked embarrassed and said, "Cousin, what are you saying? I'm not that kind of person. My feet really hurt and I can't walk. If I could go back, I wouldn't trouble you." Zhao Yuner's smile became colder. From Liang Xinyue's reaction and the guilty posture when she spoke, it could be seen that Liang Xinyue was indeed lying. Her motive was obvious. She wanted to stay over at her house. Wu Zhenju couldn't stand it anymore. He felt that Zhao Yuner was being too aggressive. He couldn't help but scold Zhao Yuner. "My Yuer's feet hurt and she can't walk back. What's wrong with her staying over at your house for a night? Do you have to be so petty? You even came over to question this and that. You're making it seem like it's rare to have so many people around." After saying that, Wu Zhenju turned to Liang Jinxiao and said, "Sister, look at your daughter. We're relatives after all. Don't make it seem like we're worse than strangers. If this stranger is in trouble and really wants to stay over, we'll definitely help her. We won't chase her away like this." Liang Jinxiao was also in a difficult position. She frowned and looked at Zhao Yuner. Actually, she also didn't understand why Zhao Yuner would say such things. Even if Liang Xinyue was pretending, it wasn't a big deal for her to stay over for a night. Chapter 2298. When Liang Xinzi finished speaking, everyone looked at her. They didn't quite understand the meaning behind her words. "Zir girl, what are you saying? What do you mean my Yuer isn't pure and has ulterior motives? You have to be responsible for what you say. Tell me, what is my Yuer's motive?" She just opened her mouth and said it. "If you don't have any evidence, aren't you making slanderous accusations?" Wu Zhenju couldn't take it anymore and questioned Liang Xinzi fiercely. Liang Xinzi curled her lips and said indifferently, "Second aunt, what is Yuer's motive? Wouldn't it be better if you asked her? In any case, cousin Yuner is right. Younger sister Yuer's foot isn't injured at all. It's not that she can't walk, she just wants to stay and doesn't want to leave." "You girl, you're spouting nonsense." Wu Zhenju was extremely angry. If it weren't for the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Dang were present, Wu Zhenju would have slapped Liang Xinzi a few times. She was already a grown girl, yet she was still spouting nonsense. It was simply infuriating. I'm not spouting nonsense. Liang Xinzi still stubbornly replied, just now, I saw that younger sister Yuer could walk. Why did she say that her foot hurts and she can't walk when we were just talking about going home? If it hurts, shouldn't it have hurt when we first arrived? In the end, it didn't hurt at first, but after resting for so long, it started to hurt. Younger sister Yuer's foot is really a bit strange. Hearing Liang Xinzi's words, everyone felt that Liang Xinzi's words made sense. If it hurt, it should have hurt from the beginning. Why did it start to hurt after resting for so long? That meant that Liang Xinyue was lying because she didn't want to leave. Wu Zhenju felt that he couldn't bear to lose face, so he stubbornly replied, so what? Can't her foot hurt now? My Yuer isn't like you. She doesn't know how to lie. Liang Xinyue also bit her lower lip and glared hatefully at Liang Xinzi. This cousin of hers was too much. She deliberately exposed her and didn't give her any face. To put it bluntly, wasn't she also selfish? She did not want her to stay and interact with Mu Lianfeng and Mo Yen. She was afraid that she would find a good man. She was actually jealous of her and did not want her to be happy. If she wasn't able to stay overnight at Zhao Yun'er's house today, she would definitely fight Liang Xinzi to the death. The more Liang Xinyue thought about it, the angrier she got. Liang Xinzi curled her lips and no longer spoke. Anyway, she had already said what she wanted to say. Presumably, Zhao Yun'er knew that Liang Xinyue was lying. With Zhao Yun'er's character, she would definitely not allow Liang Xinyue to stay. Zhao Yun'er was even more determined not to let Liang Xinyue stay overnight. This woman liked to pretend so much. She wanted to see how long Liang Xinyue would continue pretending. Zhao Yun'er gave Xiao He a look. Xiao He had basically become intelligent. He immediately understood Zhao Yun'er's intentions. He barked at Liang Xinyue a few times before quickly lunging towards Liang Xinyue. Liang Xinyue paled in fright from Xiao He's fright. Her face paled in an instant. Zhao Yun'er called out in a hurry, oh no, my dog has gone crazy. Everyone move away. I'm going to be bitten by the dog. Otherwise, I won't be responsible if I lose a piece of meat. The other people in the room moved away in fright, afraid that Xiao He would bite them. Just how painful would it be if Xiao He's long teeth sank into her flesh? In her panic, Liang Xinyue did not think too much. She quickly charged out. Even if he didn't want to admit it, Wu Zhenju couldn't deny it in front of the truth. This damn girl. He didn't know what she was scheming in her head. She actually lied and wanted to stay overnight at Zhao Yun'er's house. Now that he was exposed in front of everyone, Wu Zhenju was slapped in the face because of what he said just now. At this moment, his face was burning with pain. Zhao Yun'er curled her lips. She didn't have any intention of reprimanding Wu Zhenju. She only said indifferently, second aunt, if little sister Yuer really hurt her feet, I wouldn't be so petty as to not let her stay overnight. Last time, when little sister Z sprained her feet, I let her stay and even sent her there. It's clear that I don't have such thoughts. Chapter 2300. If it had been just now, Wu Zhenju might have scolded her a little. But now she did not have the face to say anything because Liang Xinyue was the one who lied first, and they were not in the right to begin with. Zhao Yun'er continued, also my family is a little busy today, and I'm afraid that Yuer won't be able to take good care of her if she stays overnight. There are still a lot of things to do for Qinan's wedding later. Plus, we have guests at our house and we just took in Pinger and Qin Yuan, so we don't have any empty rooms at home. We can't possibly let Yuer squeeze in with other people to sleep, right? After Zhao Yun'er said this, if Liang Xinyue continued to shamelessly stay, it would seem that Liang Xinyue was in the wrong. Although the Liang family was thick-skinned, they were not so thick-skinned that they had no scruples. Liang Jinhui coughed softly and said to Zhao Yun'er awkwardly, Yun'er, I've troubled you. Yuer is too insensible. Don't worry, I'll take her with me later and won't let her stay here overnight. Zhao Yun'er smiled and nodded. Thank you for your understanding, second uncle. Liang Jinhui waved his hand awkwardly. It's fine, it's fine. It's Yuer's fault. A victorious look flashed across Zhao Yun'er's eyes. Seeing that she had achieved her goal, Zhao Yun'er did not continue to torment Liang Xinyue. She called out to Little He, and Little He turned and ran towards her. Liang Xinyue heaved a sigh of relief. Because she ran too hard, her legs turned to jelly, and she sat on the ground, unable to regain her senses. Zhao Yuner could not help but mock her in her heart. How dare she act so arrogantly in front of her with such little guts? She really overestimated herself. After such a torment, the Liang family left with Liang Xinhua. Zhao Yuner's family immediately regained their composure. Zhao Yuner went to her room to rest for a while. When she woke up, it was already past 4 in the afternoon. The bowls, chopsticks and other things in the house had already been cleaned up. The banquet only needed to heat up the dishes prepared for lunch. As for the tables borrowed from Zhao Yuner's family, they had already returned them. Zhao Yuner did not expect that her second uncle, Zhao Wenshui, would take the initiative to come to her house to help. After delivering the tables and chairs, Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Wenshui rested in the courtyard. Zhao Wenhua said gratefully, "Second brother, thank you so much for today." Zhao Wenshui smiled and waved his hand. "It's okay. We're brothers. You don't have to be so polite. Your family's Yuner saved my life before. Second brother, your injuries haven't healed yet, but you insisted on coming over to help. You've been busy for so long. Are you sure your body is okay?" Zhao Wenhua asked with concern. After all, Zhao Wenshui's injuries were too serious. It hadn't been long. Could it be that Zhao Wenshui's injuries had already healed? Zhao Wenshui smiled and replied, "I got some medicine from Dr. Sunday. I'm much better after recuperating. I can't just stay in bed all the time. Doing some light work and exercise will help me recover." Third brother, you were the one who moved the table. I only moved a few stools. Those light things are not tiring at all. What's wrong with me doing this kind of work? After hearing Zhao Wenshui's words, Zhao Wenhua nodded and felt relieved. That's good, that's good. Otherwise, second brother, I would feel guilty if something happened to you. Chapter 2301. Well, second brother, that's true, but you still have to be careful. After all, the injuries on your body are different from those of us who are not injured. If you work too hard and something happens to you, I will feel bad. Zhao Yunlong couldn't help but exhort. Yes, second brother, that's true. As the saying went, it was better to be safe than sorry. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if something really happened. Zhao Wenshui smiled and nodded. Yes, I know. I know my own body well. I won't force myself to do things that I'm not confident of. Yes, yes. Zhao Wenhua smiled foolishly. Not long ago, his second brother had always been lazy and unwilling to do anything. It was just like how Zhao Wenshui had always used the excuse of not feeling well to not do farm work before they had separated from the family. But now, he actually took the initiative to help his family. Moreover, Zhao Wenshui didn't just help his family. He also helped the other families. Zhao Wentao mentioned that Zhao Wenshui helped to harvest grains. Based on this, it could be seen that his second brother had really turned over a new leaf and was different from before. Of course, this was a good thing for old Zhao's family. In the past, Zhao Wenshui was too muddle-headed and did a lot of ridiculous things. Not only did he implicate others, but he also suffered. Now, his second sister-in-law had divorced his second brother. Their relationship with Jianghu was also very strained. Zhao Wenshui had to live with Zhao Tianyu alone. Life wasn't easy, it didn't matter if the villagers were poor. The most important thing was to work hard as a family. He didn't even have a wife and had to rely on himself. It felt strange. After the two of them sat down to rest for a while, Zhao Wenhua asked earnestly, "Second brother, do you have any plans in the future? You can't possibly live with Tianyu alone." Zhao Wenshui smiled and said, "After some time, I'll go to my second sister-in-law's maiden home and coax her. I'll make things clear to her and hope that she can forgive me and come back with me. I know I've done a lot of ridiculous things, but I want to turn over a new leaf now. So I hope your sister-in-law can give me a chance to turn over a new leaf." Zhao Wenhua nodded. That's good. After all, second sister-in-law is Tianan's mother. It's better for her to take care of him. If you marry another woman, Tianyu will only have one more stepmother and may not be able to take good care of the child. Yes, no matter how good a stepmother is, she is not as good as a biological mother. Tianyu also said that he misses his mother. Zhao Wenshui sighed with emotion. If it weren't for the stupid things he had done before, Li Chuiying wouldn't have left, and Li Chuiying and Zhao Tianyu wouldn't have been separated. A good family had been turned into a mess by him alone, to the extent that the family was almost torn apart. Fortunately, he had come to his senses now. Otherwise, if he continued to cause a ruckus, no one would care even if he died. Zhao Wenhua patted Zhao Wenshui's shoulder. Second brother, take it slow. I believe second sister-in-law can't bear to part with Tianyu. In the future, your family will be able to live a good life together. Thank you, third brother. Zhao Wenshui thanked him gratefully. Everyone else despised him. Only Zhao Yunlong and Zhao Wentao were willing to pay attention to him and talk to him. The people from the first branch of the family didn't even want to look at him. Chapter 2302. I just want to thank you. Third brother, thank you for not despising second brother. I'm a useless person. I've caused too much trouble for others in the past. Zhao Wenshui's face was full of guilt and annoyance. He also felt a little disgusted with himself. Zhao Wenhua hurriedly comforted him. Second brother, we're brothers. No matter how many mistakes you've made, brothers should be more tolerant and forgiving. As long as it's not outrageous, it's really unforgivable. Zhao Wenshui's heart was deeply moved again. With Zhao Wenhua's words, Zhao Wenshui felt that he was not alone at this time. He still had brothers who supported him behind him. For the sake of his brothers, he had to be a good person and not let them down too much. As the two of them spoke, Zhao Yun'er's kitchen started to get busy again. They still had to continue preparing for the banquet. However, because only old Zhao's family would be eating together, there was not much to prepare. There were many meat and vegetable dishes left over from the lunch banquet, so there was no need to make too much of a fuss. These leftover dishes only needed to be heated up a little and could be eaten. Today's incident was indeed a little troublesome. Zhao Yun'er guessed that not everyone could come to the banquet at old Zhao's house. Fifth uncle and fifth aunt were afraid that the two children would do the same to others, so after lunch they rushed back to town. Zhao Xinhui was beaten 30 times with the paddle and was now lying half dead in old Zhao's house. Hua Chunhua was so anxious that she was in no mood to come over for lunch. She did not eat at lunch and only asked for something to fill her stomach. After returning home, she directly guarded Zhao Xinhui, afraid that something would happen to Zhao Xinhui. However, when night fell, she still did not see Zhao Xinhui wake up. Hua Chunhua was anxious. When night fell, Zhao Xinhui still did not wake up. Could it be that something serious really happened? If something serious happened to her daughter, she did not want to live anymore. She didn't want to see her son die before her own. The more Hua Chunhua thought about it, the more regretful she felt. Why didn't she stop Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan from getting together earlier? Or she should have asked them to keep a low profile and not be so ostentatious. Otherwise they wouldn't have been punished so severely today. Although Hua Chunhua cared about money and agreed to let Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan be together because of money, she felt that compared with her daughter was more important. After all, one could only enjoy life if they were alive. There were some things that money could not make up for. Zhao Baoshan also returned to old Zhao's house. He sat in old Zhao's courtyard and smoked. Although he didn't say anything, he was worried about his daughter's situation. If he really couldn't make it, he would have to send his child away. He would feel very sad. When it was almost time for the banquet to start, Zhao Benshan called out to Hua Chunhua, who was in the room. "Old woman, we should go to old third's place. Otherwise he will have to trouble himself to invite us over." When Hua Chunhua saw that Zhao Xinhui showed no signs of waking up, she replied unhappily, "Our daughter is already in this state. Who would be in the mood to eat? If you want to go, you can go. In any case, I won't go." Zhao Baoshan put down his cigarette and sighed heavily. "Even if you don't want to eat, you won't wake up. The most important thing is to fill your stomach. If you fall, who will take care of her? No matter what, you have to take care of your own health. Don't tire yourself out first." Chapter 2303. After being scolded by Zhao Baoshan, Hua Chunhua wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. "I don't care. Anyway, if my daughter can't do it, I won't be in the mood to eat. You're the only one who's magnanimous. Your daughter is already like this, but you don't even fart. You don't even care about her. It's not like she's your daughter. Why is she so pitiful to have such a heartless father like you?" The corner of Zhao Baoshan's mouth twitched. This old woman's words were too infuriating. Could it be that he, an old man in his 20s, had to cry like a woman? What kind of joke was that? The scandal today had already embarrassed him enough, and he was being mocked by the other people in the village. If he still cried and made a fuss now, who knew how many people would continue to laugh at him later on? When one was old, what they cared about the most was their reputation. He didn't want to become the target of ridicule before he died. As for Zhao Xinhui, speaking of which, he was also full of anger. Even if she had hooked up with the Qin Yuan, she didn't have to be so ostentatious like today. He didn't know where she learned from. She didn't go home when she had a home, but ran to the grassland every day to have sex. Wasn't she deliberately letting others catch her? In addition, she was unlucky today to have met Lord Li Zheng, so she had to be punished for this matter. Zhao Baoshan's only worry now was that this matter would spread throughout the surrounding villages. After all, bad news spread far and wide. He didn't want old Zhao's family to be mocked by the surrounding villages. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to go out and meet people. Is there any use for me to worry? Will my daughter wake up after yelling at her a few times like you? What are you talking about? Zhao Baoshan snorted in displeasure. Wu Chunhua sobbed, if you want to eat, you old man can eat. Don't worry about me. If doesn't wake up, I'll have to call Dr. Sun over to take a look. I don't want anything to happen to her. Fine. I won't care about you. Old woman, you can do whatever you want. It's none of my business anyway. Zhao Baoshan replied angrily, then got up and walked in the direction of Zhao Yiner's house. When Zhao Baoshan came over, Zhao Wenhua went forward and asked Zhao Xinhui's condition. Zhao Baoshan's head and Zhao Baoshan's mother. Zhao Xinhui's SSS heart. Zhao Yunlong was worried for Zhao Xinhui. After all, she was his sister. Even if Zhao Xinhui had done something wrong, he did not want Zhao Xinhui to lose her life. Zhao Yunlong comforted Zhao Baoshan and then began to prepare for the banquet. The originally lively wedding was disrupted by today's incident. The atmosphere in old Zhao's house was a little gloomy, and there was no sense of joy like before. But there was nothing the third branch could do. If they had known in advance, they would have stopped it. After the family had dinner together, they went back to their own homes. They didn't have the mood to make a scene in the bridal chamber. However, it gave Zhao Tianan and Mu Hin a chance to have some peace and quiet. Zhao Tianan could only enter his bridal chamber to see Mu Hin at night. Mu Xan had been waiting alone in the bridal chamber for a long time. In the middle, only the third branch had sent her some food. After that, she was the only one left. She was bored to death. She heard some sporadic conversations outside the bridal chamber. She knew that something big had happened in the family today, but no one told her. As soon as Zhao Tianan came, Mu Hin's mood rose a lot. She was a little excited. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.